Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Lake Placid Town Council this Monday evening, November 10th, in the Government Center of the great town of Lake Placid. At this time, I'd ask everybody to please make sure your phones are either off or on vibrate, and if you're wearing a cap or hat, please remove it while you're in chambers. We are honored with us to have Reverend Norris from the Lutheran Church with us tonight, who's going to lead us in our invocation and pledge. So if everybody would please rise.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, on this eve of Veterans Day, we pause to give you thanks for the men and women who have faithfully served our country in the past, and for those who are serving in active military duty around the world, serving and protecting us here in this country, even as we gather here tonight. 1 Timothy 2, 1-2, Paul speaking to young Timothy and to all of us as well, says, I exhort you therefore, first of all, to make supplications, prayers, and intercessions, and giving thanks be made for all men, for kings and for all that are in authority, that they may lead a quiet and peaceable life in all godliness and honesty. I pray for these men and women that are gathered here tonight, both the elected and the community that are facing major decisions, that you will grant them wisdom and insight to the issues. I pray that all gathered here tonight will be able to discuss important issues respectfully, considering the entire community. Give them grace to determine the best possible, morally right solutions that would best benefit the people whom they have been elected to serve. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
We pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
At this time, how many veterans do we have in the house? If you would, please rise. Being Veterans Day, being a veteran myself, I just want to thank each and every one of you for the sacrifices that you all have given to our country. And I want everybody to give them a round of applause because we all appreciate it. All right, Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Holbrook.
Here.
Councilmember Hayes. Councilmember Hayes.
Here.
Councilmember Worley.
Here.
Councilmember Charles.
Here.
Councilmember Eberhardt.
Here.
All right. Number 2 is public comments. We'll go ahead and open it up to the floor on anyone who has some public comments. I have a couple here. Margaret Deere on miscellaneous thoughts. Now, if you have something that's pertaining to something that's on the agenda later, I'd ask you not to come up now. We'll do it at that particular time.
All right. Hey, everybody. Long time no see. I stopped coming to council meetings because I had a council member tell me that I was nothing but negative. I had a Lake Placid police officer tell me on social media that I was a member of a hate group. Doesn't Linda want to come offer your thoughts and comments, but I was inspired because last week at the TDC special workshop, the town administrator said every opinion matters. Every voice counts, so here I am. This is going to be brief, and I'm just touching on it, so I'm going to respect what the mayor just said. Police Department, 2021, $600,000 and 4,000 square feet. That's where we started. Somehow 4 years later, here we are. Same thing with pickleball. We started with $70,000, and now we're at $500,000 trying to finance it. Both started fantastic ideas because the funding was there, or so we thought. With the police department, we thought that we had Well, we thought it was going to be reasonable, and then COVID comes and everything goes up, and there's going to be a legislative grant, and then maybe there's a loan. Well, that didn't come through, and then the same thing with pickleball. My only issue with both of them is there's never been an open exchange of ideas. You all have talked about it ad nauseum, but there's never been a big old chart saying this is how much it's going to cost. How do y'all feel? I think pickleball is a great idea. I think the police department's a great idea. I really do. Those guys have put up with a lot of stuff. But I just begin to wonder with the price tag is maybe they're a different way. I don't want to rehash. I don't want to go back. This town is divided. It's not stagnant. It's divided. And it's divided because of these issues. And it's going to come together with communication, with compromise and compassion. So I hope I've taken a tip from a friend, Pam Fentress, who told me that simple is good. And that's as simple as I know how to say. And thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And I'm going to go home and watch in the comfort of my own home. Thank you now.
Cheating. That's cheating, Margaret.
Thank you.
So,
And Mr. Ray Royce.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ray Royce, 113 Waters Edge Lane here in Lake Placid. I mainly came here to say thank you, because I don't think enough of us say thank you often enough. A month or two ago, I thought I had an issue with the utility thing, came down here, talked to the utility folks. They worked with me, they came, they checked stuff out. Probably was my fault why my bill was high, but they worked with me. I was very appreciative of what they did. A week or so ago, I had some big things I had to throw away. I called Alan Kiefer. He said, this is what you do. It all went smoothly. And again, I say all that because that's the beauty of our small town. That's the beauty of our staff that I think we take for granted. We don't appreciate it. So I want to say thank you to the folks in the utility department. I want to say thank you to Alan. Alan had another TV go down yesterday, so I may be texting you again how to get rid of a TV. But I want to go way back. I want to say thank you to Arlene Tuck when she was clerk and she was saving the money that you all are going to talk about. I want to say, thank you to Eva and Rachel and all of our town administrators from Charlotte to Phil on back, because those are the people that are working on it. And I would encourage you, those of you on council, to appreciate the staff you have, because in our small town, we're very fortunate to have them. They're at a pay rate that's below the county. I saw today the county's salaries are below the state average. And so we have very dedicated people that have a lot of experience and a lot of institutional knowledge. We have people like our town attorney, Mr. Harris, who has spent decades working with the town, not only as a paid contractor, but putting thousands of hours of his own time in the deal for free. So I want to say thank you to Bert as another person who's given shamelessly to the town many, many years. That's not the right word, shamelessly, but that's what I've meant to say. I also want to thank you all. My wife and I rode out the other day. You all put some cones out where the pickleball courts will be built. And I was just interested in what my wife, who kind of hates politics at all levels, thought. And she said, why is there a debate? It's off in the middle of nowhere. It's in an area that's not being utilized, never been utilized. It works perfectly there. So thank you for doing that so that, as Ms. Deere said, in the effort of transparency, we can all see exactly what's going on. I will take just one little second to say, move forward with the police department, move forward with the pickleball. I don't know that I have it in me to sit here for 3 or 4 hours tonight to watch the whole show or not, so I may go home and watch it on TV as well. But we are never going to get where every single person in the community gets an opportunity. They all have the opportunity, but they're not going to take it. And I think that's what you all are going to find. We have discussed this thing in the police department for decades. Am I out of town, Chief? Time, Chief? Thank you very much.
And Rosemary.
My name is Rosemary Heath, and I live at 588 Sunset Point Drive in Lake Placid, Florida. I have a letter that was given to me, or a copy of a letter, and I'd like to read it to you. I'm writing to express concern about the process surrounding the proposed police station, the lack of public workshop, the submission of legislative grants without council approval, and the absence of clear problem statement raised curious questions about transparency and accountability. This is not just a budget issue, it's a matter of public trust. I respectfully request that you suspend all bids, negotiations, conduct a public review or referendum, and fully disclose the rationale, alternatives, and fiscal impacts of this project. Lake Placid residents deserve a voice in decisions that affect their town's future. Please ensure that this project reflects our values of openness, fairness, and fiscal responsibility. Sincerely.
Before we get started, we have, I think, an honored guest with us. We have the chairman of the Highlands County Commission with us, Arlene Tuck. Arlene, if you please stand up. It's always an honor and a pleasure to have you with us. You want to say a few words, please?
Okay, tomorrow at 10 o'clock, Placid Lakes is having a ceremony for the veterans. So anybody that's a veteran is more than welcome to come, and it's right as you go over the bridge on the right-hand side, Tobler Park, and it's from 10 to 12. Tomorrow night at 6:30, there's going to be a parade downtown Sebring, so you can come in your vehicle and just join the parade that's going to go down in front of the courthouse, around the circle and back. That starts at 6:30. You're all welcome. And also on November the 18th, New Hope is having a dinner for anybody over 65. It starts at 11:15, and it will be at the Jack Strout Center, which is behind the Art League. So if you're 65, come get a good meal. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tuck. All right. First of all, I want to thank each and every one of you being here tonight. We honored our veterans, which I think was very appropriate. And in honor of that also, Town Hall will be closed tomorrow. Quick reminder, we have a joint workshop with the council, the Regional Utilities Committee, and the LPA, and that'll be this Thursday at 5:30 here in the chamber. These discussions will help shape the future of Lake Placid, and we encourage each of you and the public to attend. Our downtown revitalization plan surveys are live. They're online, and paper copies are out in the lobby. Remember, your feedback matters, so if you have comments or suggestions, please do that. Lacrosse is coming back, and we're going to have more to come as this develops, but we're excited to have them back and keep building our presence in regional sports. And then we also have a big event, the last paddle standing on Lake June. There'll be more than 30 of the best endurance paddlers in the world here on Lake June. There'll be broadcasters here from the United Kingdom. It will be streamed globally through SUP Media with a live broadcast at H.L. Bishop Park. Also, along with this, the organizers are going to be working to keep the boaters and homeowners informed. And this will help reinforce our identity as part of the endurance racing capital of the world, especially with the Spartan races following the next weekend. Most of these races will be held in the cove on the east end of the lake. So they're asking for limited boat traffic during the event to protect the paddlers from wakes. And also along with that, there will be a welcome party at Wet Dogs on Friday, December 5th from 8 to 9. That would be a good chance to meet all the athletes. And they're seeking local spokespeople for live broadcast interviews on December 6th and 7th. So this is going to be a big event for us. As we move through November, I also want to recognize the Thanksgiving season. For those of you that are going to travel, we hope you have safe travels and that you have a great Thanksgiving weekend. We're grateful for our community, for everyone who shows up, and for the spirit of Lake Placid. And thank you all for being here tonight.
Mr. Mayor, what are the dates of that lacrosse and the last man paddler?
What is it?
The dates.
Well, I don't have the lacrosse yet. That's more information will be coming on that.
Okay, what about the last man standing paddlers, so that the ones that affect voters?
Yeah.
I don't think lacrosse is going to, they've changed their plans. They're probably going to come in December now about the,
December 6th and 7th.
6th and 7th is the last man standing.
and then we should have the date for lacrosse soon, like in the next few days. They were going to come in November, but they changed to December. I'm sorry?
Is that what it is? Okay.
December 19th through 21st.
And again, the meet and greet is on December 5th from 8 to 9. That'll be at Wet Dogs. Okay. All right, we can go on now to the consent agenda, A through D.
I'll make a motion to accept consent agenda A through D.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the podium? Hearing none, I'll take it to the audience. All right, seeing none, bring it back. Poll the council.
Councilmember Charles?
Yes.
Councilmember Eberhardt?
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes?
Yes.
Councilmember Worley?
Yes.
Number 5, I don't have any presentations. Are there any to come forward? No? Okay. So we'll go on to number 6. Oh, before we do that, I'm going to turn the podium over to our attorney, Mr. Harris. He has a few words that he would like to take care of at this time. Sir?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've served as town attorney under 5 mayors for approximately 40 years. It's time that I retire, so I've tendered my resignation to the mayor. It'll be effective at his pleasure, giving the town administrator and the mayor time to seek other counsel. I'll be 73 next month, and it's just time. It has been the honor of my life to serve so long under so many circumstances this community. Ray pointed out the number of volunteer hours, and that's been the greatest pleasure in working with Lake Placid. Not my hours, but Ray's hours, Charlie's hours, Greg Sapp's hours, the number of us that have contributed time and talent together as a community. We used to work as a town council and frankly through the Chamber of Commerce to try to bring together and make Lake Placid better without any money, because we didn't have any. I will tell you, based upon the contributions of those folks, I want to say that my observation of the town over the past 40 years is it's been an amazing growth. We still have the lowest tax rate in Highlands County of any municipality, almost by 50%. That's a heck of a statement. We have a utility department probably worth $60 million, $70 million, zero debt, zero. This building paid for. Thank you, Clerk Tuck, over time. Our comprehensive plan is, I think, better than any in the community and any in the surrounding area. It is not a checkbox plan. Because it's not a checkbox plan, it is incredibly difficult, it can be difficult to manage. Ray's point when he was chairman of that growth management committee said, if they meet our standards, we need to say yes quickly and promptly. That was our intent in doing that development plan. It hadn't worked out exactly like that, but you shouldn't consider throwing that baby out with the bath just because that one element needs to be tweaked. Your growth management plan allows you to meet with and discuss with developers new and innovative ways for planning and development, not just the normal checkbox. So it is indeed an innovative plan even today. Central Florida Regional Planning Council confirmed that just 3 months ago when Charlotte and I were meeting with them, with Dana and several others. Don't change, stay the course on the plan. Your plan, coupled with your regional utility, would allow the town to manage growth in a way that will make our citizens happy. There's been a lot of discussion. My dear friend Pam, who's been with us from day one through that, will certainly have reasonable debate about the cost of the plan to a landowner and to a developer. I acknowledge reasonable people can differ, and that's fine, my dear friend Pam. But one of the cores of that plan is to make sure that the developer bringing new citizens to our community meets the same level of service with, for example, parks and recreation, so those levels of service aren't diminished. The number of parks per 1,000 or per 100 people should remain the same as we develop. So when you look at no debt, the lowest tax rate, utilities paid for, buildings paid for, you're in a pretty good spot. I say that because from time to time I hear folks say this town is dying. It is not. You are well positioned. You are well positioned because we have had a number of good volunteers, Haas Compton, Charlie Wilson, you see them all over the room, who have dedicated their time and their talents. I wish you well. I'll be here as long as needed. And thank you very much for allowing me the honor to serve. It's kind of like giving up a body part, but it's time. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I will say we are going to miss him. I know he's not going anywhere, and he'll be here if we need him. But I've worked very closely with him for at least the past 25 years, and I know for sure that I'm going to miss him. Have we always agreed? No. But we've always been able to work things out, and that's the main thing. I appreciate all he's done, not just for me, but for this council and our great town. And I just want everybody to know that I personally appreciate everything you've done for me.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And I'm sure you're going to be hard to replace, but we'll start on that rather quickly. Wednesday, okay. Okay, next we'll go to public hearings. Ordinance 2025-17, first reading of the utility rate change, and an ordinance of the Town of Lake Placid amending Chapter 135 of the Town Code entitled Regional Utility System to increase residential and commercial water and wastewater rates, to prohibit severability, and to provide for an effective date.
The Utility Director asked that I take lead on this. Warner and I have reviewed, gone back and forth about 150,000 times to try to make sure every mathematical change is correct. Of course, Nell read the ordinance, and question called into question, you'll notice it appears that we are reducing rates, but it's actually about a 5% increase based upon the rate being charged. Recall that in the past we had raised the rate but not implemented the entire increase. So the 5% is based upon the actual rate charged as opposed to the published rate charged. So thank you, Nell, for reading. but I think we're correct. This was based upon 2 studies done by Florida Rural Water. Study of 1, what is it going to cost to operate the system? Study number 2, what does the infrastructure require to be operated and maintained in the coming? In other words, what widgets will we have to replace over the next few years? Both of those are added into this, and both of those supposedly backfill the hole we had in the reserve, as well as the operating. Any questions or comments?
Can I clarify for the ones that maybe haven't gone through the rural water thing? The study showed that, well, first of all, there's a 90 days reserve recommended for operating and maintenance budget, and right now we're all at 79 days. And with the increase, it only bumps it up to 94 days. That's a recommended minimum. The actual recommended is 120 days reserves. So we need to do this.
Absolutely, and Ms. Eberhardt is our liaison to the regional utility, and she's well qualified. I don't think people understand that the utility account is separate. It has to maintain itself. It has to operate separately from taxes, from anything that we receive in. It is a standalone account. So if that account has, it's got to pay for itself. It's got to have its own reserves. The operating fund for the rest of our town budget should not be supporting it. It should support itself. So I don't think anybody understands that. We do have to have, we have to serve the public. It's charged to us because we took on this responsibility. And rural water is a wonderful benefit to us. They are always come through, and they don't take sides. They're not trying to make money or do anything. They just look at the facts and what we have to do to maintain service. And that's all we're doing. And we just got a little bit behind, but we need to catch up, and I hope that everybody understands that, and we're not trying to make money for the town on the side or something like that. I know that's been thought of before. So I hope everybody understands that we have to do this. This is not a choice.
I just want to add to that, just to kind of help clarify, because when you hear a 22% rate increase and you hear 8% for the next 4 years, of course your first comment is, wow, 54% over 5 years. I think we did publish on the website a couple months ago this whole Town of Lake Placid rate study, which is done by an independent organization, the Florida Rural and Water. And just to support the comments that are made, to draw a couple additional attention, is the results from the rate analysis. Approximate anticipated deficit for 24-25 fiscal year is $346,500. Without a rate increase, the town can expect to deplete the existing reserves by the end of this fiscal year, by the end of 26-27. So I, like the others, nobody likes an increase. And I like to say it is what it is. I don't like it. I don't like that the increase that was approved a couple years ago didn't get put into the system for whatever reason. And so now, at a minimum, we need a 22% this year, 8% the next year, and after. And then we'll redo the rate study in 3 years. One of the things I'm thinking of is, for sure we need to do 22%, for sure we need to do an 8%, but maybe rather than approve tonight all 5 years, is redo the study before year number 3, because we may need it to be 10%, it may need to be less. So it's just another way to, one, attack the problem that we have by minimizing the under-reserve amount, because like Councilwoman Worley said, this is water. If we've got an emergency that needs to be done, our levels are already pretty low. So, I mean, this is something that's necessary. And that would be the other, would be, do we go all in for doing 5 years right now, but redoing it in 3 years, or do you do 2 years now and you redo it, and then you determine what year 3, 4, and 5 is? But definitely, we have to put some increases in place.
Bert and I discussed at length whether to put in the ordinance requiring or allowing a rate study at the 3 or 4 year point. It was my advice that we need not put that in, because actually the council can do a rate study anytime it wants, and you can modify that trajectory. It takes the same votes to repeal it and say that's enough 3 years from now as it would to raise it. So certainly the discretion is with the council as to whether to go out 3 years or 5. Our recommendation was to follow Florida Rural Water with the projected rate increase over time, knowing full well you can come back and say, hey, we're good. We've had enough, for example, other people sign up at these rates, and we may be able to cap them off, but do it at that time. What was the other issue you raised, or question?
And I didn't have another question. It was just on, do you do it for 2 years now with the rate study, and then you do the remaining year 3, 4, 5? Or do you, and you've responded to that? Yeah.
You can do either. We followed the recommendation of the third party, period. And this, of course, is first reading, so it would be a motion to approve on first reading. If, in fact, that is where you want to go, we'll bring it back for second reading and adoption next week? The 17th.
17.
Next week.
I'm going to go ahead and make a motion for any more discussion. I make a motion that we approve on first reading ordinance number 2025-17.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any other comments from the podium? Hearing none, we'll take it to the audience. Okay, seeing none, bring it back. Poll the council.
Councilmember Worley?
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes?
Yes.
Councilmember Charles?
Yes.
Councilmember Eberhardt?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll go to 7, action agenda. Number A is the police department construction contract.
Me? Good evening. You have in your agenda package a proposed motion as well as the entire contract. It is supported by the administrator, the town attorney, the police chief, the town utility director. Mason Cobb, has he come in? He's our engineer. He should be here momentarily if you have specific questions for Mason.
He's here somewhere.
Where is he? There he is. Mason, why don't you come up and sit on the front row? Because there's about to be questions. I can feel them coming. The motion, can you scroll up beyond fiscal impact? Let's put the motion up, recommended motion. I move that. There are several things that are important in this motion. The first one is the determination that Simcoe submitted the lowest responsible bid. That is a matter of law that the council needs to determine. That has been mathematically calculated by guess who? Our engineer, who can count better than me. And there's, without question, they were the lowest responsible bid. So that is the first finding you will need in your motion. Second would be to approve the bid subject to the changes in scope, reduced scope included in the proposed contract attached to this agenda. The contract is smaller than the initial bid. We have a list in that contract, what the industry calls value engineering, where we backed out some items or modified some items to make them more cost effective, hopefully without compromising quality. That list has been approved by the chief, the engineer, and town staff, as well as the contractor. Number 3 is to authorize the mayor to execute the award, followed by all related contract documents. I use that broad term, can you scroll up just a little bit, of all related, because that will be the contract, the notice to proceed, everything related, but those will be timed out. We have to get the contract executed back, we have to get the proof of insurance, all of those things in the documents. Then we proceed with construction, which I'm told will most likely be in January. The 4th item is to authorize the direct legislative grant of $800,000, which has been discussed here many, many times, and if received, to deposit that in the town's infrastructure account. That's the account where the money will be taken from. The infrastructure account has been earmarked, if you will, or encumbered. Where's Rachel? Make sure I'm using the correct terms. The infrastructure account has been encumbered to $1.6 million. We're raising that number, if you'll scroll up well. We're raising that number to around 1.8. You've scrolled too far. There you go. No, that's close enough. You'll see at the very top, the total contract sum is $2,085,000. $192,000 of that will be coming out of your utilities account. Bert has joined that request, saying this comes out of that account. So the balance between 285 less 192 is being encumbered in the infrastructure account. So those two funds will pay, going forward, the construction cost as they come in. Now you can scroll up if you would. Okay, stop a moment. In addition to approving the contract, attached to this is Ordinance 2025-18, which amends your current budget to do exactly what I just said. You're encumbering a little more in your reserve. You're encumbering the $192,000 in the utility infrastructure account. The utility infrastructure account is being used to pay this portion of the construction contract because we're running a utility line to the government center. It will be connected to the police station. It will not be connected to the town, but it's here to be connected to town hall when our current, wastewater system fails. So utilities approved and agreed that would be an appropriate use of utility funds. It also will be able to serve areas around here as we annex and grow on this side of the road. So we'll be asking you to approve on first reading Ordinance 2518, which amends the utility budget and allocates, or at least reserves, the infrastructure funds. Next, you'll find the attachments. Those are the contract documents. Scroll up if you will. Hopefully there is attached to this there you go. There was going to be a special meeting for the purpose of approving this contract, but that was canceled because we had a few tweaks in that we still had to resolve. For example, Charlotte was trying to get a waiver of the application or the permitting fee of $10,000, didn't work. We delay, you can see the list of changes we made. We're using an existing generator rather than spending $35,000 on a new one. There you go, there's the ordinance amending your budget. If you'll scroll up and let's walk through that, there gives you your municipal powers, how you adopt an ordinance. Approving the ordinance recognizes rather your total construction price. There are the changes in your construction budget, and at the bottom it should show we took off the stone veneer, a little bit more. You had a savings of $406,000, but that included the $192. You add the $192 back in, there's your total construction price. while this contract is paid out of two separate funds, it is one construction contract. It is invisible to the contractor where we get our money from. The entire contract was bid out accordingly. Okay, you want to scroll up just a little bit? What have I forgotten to cover? I'll stand for questions as best I can.
Is it your intent for one motion for all these items?
You may do it either way. We spelled out the
Yeah.
motion. You can do it one at a time, or you can read all four into the record and say, I move, and read them all four.
So can we scroll back up to the variety of asks?
Scroll up a little bit more. I move that at the top. There you go.
Is it like, what, 5 or 6?
I think what's being asked is we make a motion, do we need to read 1 through 5, I think there's a 5 too, into the record?
Or you could just say, I move 1 through 5 as stated in the agenda. You're welcome to do it either way, Councilwoman.
Okay, well, whatever we need to do. So I'll make a move that we approve on first reading ordinance number 2025-18 to include, stated in the agenda, 1 through 5.
Second.
Could you scroll up, please?
Was there a second?
I think we had a motion and a second from Councilwoman Hayes. Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments from the podium?
I have some. So first off, I want to say, I think we all agree how much we appreciate the current police department. So there's no comments that I'm going to make that's anything related to the police department and what they do. This is just on a building, the station. And I've said it before, is I think that the conditions of the inside of the building need attention, clearly. As I look, but when these bids came back to me, and I supported in May of 2024 to move forward to come back with what cost would be to build a new police station. At that time, we didn't know the costs, and it wasn't until, I think it was August, the end of August, that the bids came back that ranged from 2.3 to 2.8. I had actually talked to the town attorney after the value engineering was done to take the 2.3, which is, it's like 2299, so I'm going to round up to 2.3. But the difference between that bidder and the next bidder is $30,000. So I wanted to make sure that the value engineering that we're doing in no way gets us into any bid improprieties. And so when you look at, can we go to the Sumco list where we're doing the value engineering? Because there's still some questions I have on that one. Can you get, yeah, this one. So what Mr. Harris said is we took the 2.3 and we've brought it down to 1892, so 19. And again, he's assured me in all of his research on value engineering that every one of these are value engineered versus that second bidder, what was $30,000, might have an issue. But go up to the one where, and again, I'm just going to bring up some that I continue to question on the value engineering. So if we had in the bid the lockers, evidence, gun storage for $91,000 and 3 people bid on it, that's questionable in my mind on value engineering, but he's assured me it is. I think where I really, to go to the bottom, and no, right there, the $192,000 for the water sewer fire line. First I heard we need to do that, and I don't argue that we don't at one point in the future. This building is going to be hooked up to water and sewer. It's water today, right? So it is water today already, so it's hooked up to water, and then it's on a septic field. Is that what it's on? So my question is, on the 192, I think it should be a separate bid document, because as far as a overall police department that included this water, sewer, and line versus a go out for a bid for how much a water, sewer, and line, I think we might have different contractors that would come back with that. And so I'm still keeping in mind that second bidder that's $30,000 different, and we don't know how much they bid, because I think what we're saying here is we want to go forward with this bid for a police station and also this $192,000 for this, putting in the new sewer line, the bigger water lines for the growth for the future for this area. And I understand that, but I continue to believe that's a whole separate go out with a bid, so other contractors, we may save some money in that area. So those, and do we have enough in our reserves to cover $192,000? Because I know that, you know, we've been talking about the level of the reserves, and we're increasing the water and the sewer.
Yes, talked to Rachel. We have it. We just received some money from the other project for reimbursement, so we have the money. But going out for a different bid, this has already been bid through the contract. This one here for water line extension, fire flows, and septic. So they bid that out already. We're just saying that that should be the responsibility of the utilities to improve the fire flows to this area, future expansion, and what was the other one? Water, sewer, and fire lines. So it's already been bid out that way for the police station construction. So we're just taking on that burden because it should fall under utilities, because it's our lines that are going to be increased to bring in. The town hall would become a customer. These lines will be for part of the infrastructure for future build and in the area right here.
So I agree, it was part of the original bid. Do we know how much the other two bid on this portion of it?
I do not.
And that's kind of what I'm saying is.
But I think all the bids came in the same way. They all bid on the water and wastewater.
I would suggest Mason can speak to that. It's my understanding no line item was broken out in the bid. It was a total bid. Could you address that, Mason?
Mason Cobb, 2302 North Thomas Road.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay. So this is a lump sum bid. It was bid out as the best, lowest price. So there was no line item taking out for just the water line from any of the contractors. So on low bid wise, it's not that out of the $3 million, we've carved out that amount based off the values that the contractor received to move to the utilities. So even though the other bidder may have been more, what number did they have? We have to go to them, but typically what happens is you go with your lowest bidder and then you work with them. If you do not choose to use their lowest bid, then you go to number two. But you don't typically talk with multiple bidders to compare and contrast. Now that might be more of an attorney question, but I don't think that's typical or may not be legal.
Thank you.
Ms. Osbright, our financial director is here. Could you come up and address any of these questions we have for finance, please? Thank you. Councilmember Charles, did you have any questions for Ms. Osborne?
I thought you called her up to ask her a question. Mine was on the bidding in that, but can we go back to the Sumco page again? So just at the bottom, do we know how much these costs are not included? So do we know so that we can determine what are the total costs that we're getting into? I get it for the bid, but then the security access control, the connection fees, do we know what those costs are? And then have we looked at future operating costs of the building?
The total cost is $2,085,000. Are you asking about any costs in addition to that, is what you're asking?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess at this point, we have to go with the quote. So we don't know if any other additional costs are going to come in addition to that, but that is the best estimate at this time.
I think it's a slightly different question. These are the items that we cannot answer, that we tried to last week, as recently as last week. Security and access, that's the keypads on the doors here. We're already under contract for Town Hall, and the point is to use the same contractor over there. So that will be an operating budget expansion that you'll see come forward next year. Furniture fixtures, you'll see that we deleted appliances, and we deleted 11 evidence lockers, and the chief said he's going to move his retired desk from one building to the next. So basically, we took that out. There is no line item, no expense allocated for furniture fixtures. The power company, Duke Energy, we can't get an answer out of them, and we did try. We don't know what, they really won't respond until we pull a building permit. Is that correct, Mason? How much do you care to share, if you can, give any comfort to council on your discussions with Duke Energy?
So Duke Energy, they will need an official application from the contractor that's awarded, and then once that application is submitted, then they will turn it into their engineers, who would then evaluate the network around us, and then they would come up with an actual price, depending on, there's a lot of things that vary, how much energy they expect you guys to consume affects the total price that they, as far as the installation cost that they have. I did speak with a representative. He was guessing in the ballpark of 10,000 or less, but he said even he couldn't give any numbers until after the proper applications have been submitted.
The final option issue was fiber optic line to be installed by the state. Mark tells me that that is the secure line used by law enforcement, and they don't let anyone dink with their secure lines at all. Mark is of the opinion, I believe, that this is a no cost to us. Is that?
Spoke with the representative at FDLE who stated they foot the bill for this. They pay for this line to be submitted in. It is their line. We do not touch it. We do not mess with it. They bring it in. It goes to their router. We have one in our current building. They paid 100% for it to be installed. They'll do the same thing in the new building.
I'm done.
Yeah. Mine is just trying to determine the total cost, right? We know that we're talking 1.9 for construction here, plus another 192 coming from a different source, but it's still a cost that at some point we're going to have to do. We'll pull it ahead to do it in the next year, and just trying to determine then what are the other costs, and of course what the future operating costs, even if it was a ballpark back in the of the envelope. And I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it. I'm concerned on the affordability. I'm concerned on drawing down grossly our infrastructure reserve. We've got studies that are taking place for storm drainage in the town, for roads, and others, and when those are done, we know we've got water issues and drainage in the town that we need to do. So, I'll continue to say I'm very concerned on the level of, and I appreciate what you said earlier, that it's taken us years to build up all these reserves and all the hard work that everybody has done, and I really appreciate that. It's just that You don't want to just deplete it all in 1 year when you know you've got some other things that are coming at us. We've got a lot of things coming at us. And again, I would like to see us look at options, and I can appreciate since 2021, there has been a lot of discussion. In 2018, it was move them into this building. Something didn't happen. Then in 2021, as we looked at selling the old town hall, let's move them into the old town hall. There was discussions on that. And then here we are, COVID comes in, we get extra money, let's put a police department in place. So I would really like us to look at what other options do we have, how much, and I've asked this before, how much would it cost to renovate the current building? And clearly it needs attention. The inside of it needs attention, no doubt there, no arguing. The outside has brick and block. It's got a metal roof. It's sustained all of the hurricanes. Or is there another building in town? Or do you look at this building? I mean, those are what you did in 2018. I think it was a smart thing to do by the council. You looked at 4 different options. And the decision was made at that time to move Town Hall into this building along with the police department versus building a new building, expanding the old town hall, or buying the SunTrust Bank. So very smart study that the town did, because then when the decision was made, whether people liked it or not, at least you could say it was an informed decision, and the funding was put in place. So that's something I would like to see. I know there's been a lot of discussion of town residents and businesses. They'd like to see the police department stay downtown, close to the schools, close to the businesses, et cetera. And now that the prices come in of how much this is, I think it really warrants us stepping back and taking a look at what other options might exist. So at the end of the day, we can make a decision what's best for the taxpayer money. So I'll pause for any other comments, and I just had some on some of the other items that, you know, the variety of items, numbered 1 through 5.
Councilmember Hayes, if you want to go first, and then I'll follow. I'll follow.
Come down the line.
I'll be happy to go next. I had a couple of contacts with the public over the last few weeks with reference to this whole situation. One of them encouraged us to look to scale it back to something that is more affordable, and that we are committing town resources without giving citizens a final cost number. Well, I believe we have that now as best we can. I don't know how many of you may have built a building before, but especially a municipal building, but I have been involved in the remodel of several. And you never really know the bottom line number, because you're always going to have contingencies. You're always going to have things that you can't control, like the power company connection fees and, you know, things like that. But first of all, I think you should understand that when this was first talked about in 2021, it was mentioned to be a 5,000 square foot building. And that was quickly scaled back to the current 4,000 square foot building. And I think the other thing that we need to keep in mind is that we need to build this structure with the future needs of Lake Placid in mind, not just the present. This mostly relates to evidence storage, which will only continue to grow. As our population grows and our town boundaries will likely expand and be filled in with reference to the enclaves that we have now. Evidence doesn't just go away. You don't have a burglary, here's the evidence, here are the fingerprints, oh yeah, it's in a box, fine. That evidence has to stay and be stored and be correctly acknowledged all the way through every passage until that case is completely decided and all appeals are talked about in the judicial system. Well, you know that moves at glacial speed, right? So all of these things, they continue to mount. And so you have more and more and more evidence being held. I also had some communication that people want the police station downtown.
and there was no offer about renovating the current building. The plan is $1 million over budget, were no other options considered, and there is not an immediate need at this point. Well, I think we have determined that there truly is an immediate need at this point. And regardless of, Ms. Charles thinks that we need to look over this again, we have looked over this since actually 2018, and time again. And what we have now, because we've looked over it and over it and over it, for a period of 4 years, we are now finding ourselves at least $1 million, in fact, $1.6 million over budget, and really, we're building the same building, but we've just decided to discuss it for 4 more years. We have to make a decision before the price continues to grow. If you go back to all of the minutes of the meetings, starting way back in like 2021 or 22 when I came on council, I too wanted the police station downtown. But I did not have the support to do that because people with a little bit more future thinking than I, Mr. Wilson and Royce and Greg Sapp, they visualized that this area right here, that where we sit today, should be our municipal complex. And I think in hindsight, that was a really good idea. And so I went along with that. And I think that's something that sometimes we don't do here anymore. We don't realize that, okay, I wanted it to go this way, but it looks like it might be a better idea to go that way, and I'm going to go along with it, and let's move on. Let's proceed. So in order to move the project forward, and with the thinking of my fellow councilmen, to develop a municipal center, I made the motion to develop this police station on town hall property that we already owned. With reference to the possibility of renovating the current police department, there are a few facts that were considered. In 2018, Town Manager Phil Williams did an analysis and options for a new police hall, for the town hall and police station, and the spatial needs for all of those were addressed. And here are some bullet points from this assessment. And these are quotes, so I just copied it over, okay? A, the police department had at that time been twice relocated from the original 1977 town hall. B, the town acquired the current building in 1988 from the Highlands County Board of County Commissioners. C, at that time, the record storage was in a 49-foot square room. Evidence storage was in 128 square feet, and a computer storage of 28 square feet. D, building was previously an open space library built in 1969. E, modern technology, a single desktop computer system was operating unsafely in an electrical and communication system designed for 1969 technology, per the assessment. F, single electrical socket systems have expansion outlets with many instruments and computers powered by the same. And this was in the 1981 assessment. We're in 2025, just note. G, modern records laws and evidence requirements have resulted in the need for extensive renovation at the police department. However, the department is unable to become accredited because access to the evidence area can be breached by climbing over the subceiling. H, the area at that time had and has been made secure by the use of security videos and alarm systems, both requiring even more electrical access. However, this is not recognized as accreditable by the Florida Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission. And lastly, in order to accomplish a renovation of the current site, the police department would have to occupy a temporary location, which was seen as impractical in council discussions during Chief Fansler's era. So you can't renovate a building and keep the evidence in there and renovate around it, because chain of custody is totally off at that point. So you have to move out, you have to find a place to move, you have to secure your chain of custody, and then you have to move back. Secondly, even if we renovated the current building, there is no room for expansion on that site or expansion in that building. And we've already determined that we have exceeded the space that we need for evidence storage in that building, and there is no room for expansion. We can't go sideways, and we can't go up. So the fact that this plan, by the way, is $1 million over budget, yes. The same building was estimated in the beginning, as Ms. Deere pointed out in the beginning of the meeting tonight, it was estimated at $600,000. And we could have built it for that. And at that point, we had the money to build it for that. But let's discuss it a little more. Let's bring it up again. You realize how many times we've approved to build a police station? 4 times. And it hasn't been 4 meetings in a row. It's been time after arduous time. The dollar figure has going up every time we delay. This money has been allocated in the current budget, and I feel that we must go forward now as the costs rise every day, and our need is not going away, but instead is getting more urgent. I know that's not a popular opinion, and I know that's what a lot of people don't want me to say, but I feel that I'm elected to tell you what we need to do for this town, and sometimes it's not going to be what each individual person wants, but it's what's best for the majority, what's best for the town in the future, now and in the future. We have to look forward with what we're doing. One final thought that has not been in the forefront lately, and that's the safety of our civilian personnel who work in the police station, the front desk, evidence custodian, and assistant. There is nothing to protect these people from an attack. And I am not ready to say that I'm okay with that, because if they get hurt because we've delayed, or we've chosen one line out of a contract, or we decide that we want to look at all this again, which we've looked at 4 times already, nothing has really changed. That we haven't had any terribly new buildings in our town for quite some time. For what reason, let's don't go there. But nothing has really changed. And the needs are continuing to grow. So at some point, we have to say, stop. We have the money in our budget. We have a way to do it. And this is a permanent asset for the town. This is not something that's just going to go away. This is a permanent asset for the town and shows to the growth of our community. And it is needed, and it's needed now without waiting another several more times. And let's see if we can go up another $300,000 or $400,000 every 6 months that you put this off. I think I'm finished for the moment.
Okay. What scares me to death is if we start construction and we do not get the grant for $800,000. We applied for a grant in 2024 and didn't get it. It just scares me to death. We can't commit to that. The second part is even taking the $192,000 out of the infrastructure utility fund. Right now, there's about $327,000. Well, that was my old numbers. I guess it changed a little bit. So let's say there was about $327,000 in the infrastructure fund. You take out $192,000, that's 59%, leaving $135,000. That scares me. I can't go with it. I just can't do it. We'd be better off, and then we put that in here. Well, I'm going to diverge later to this location versus something else. Ideally, we could use that money for building new lines and bring in revenue. Then, as far as the general infrastructure fund, I'm adding account 101 and 162. Is that legitimate? To get to a total of about 2.5 million?
Right.
Is that ballpark?
Yeah.
Okay. If we don't get the grant, that takes out, that leaves us with 1.8, where are my numbers here? And we take out that, and then we take out more money for the ball field lighting.
Right.
That really cuts down on the general infrastructure fund. Again, if we don't get that grant. I can't have contract signed without that grant in hand, and ideally a grant for even more money that we should have applied for. The next thing, they say, and it's been said many times, every time we delay, it's going to cost more and more and more. And that's true. In the past years, inflation was 6.5% or 7%. Last year, inflation was 2.9, and it's projected to be 3% inflation for 2025. It's my understanding we make more than that with the money in our savings accounts. Our interest rate is more than 3%.
Correct.
So what we're gaining on interest by having the money in the bank will cover inflation. Is that accurate?
I will say so.
Thank you. So because of these risks to the town, I would love for them to have a new police station. They need it. There's no question. But I can't put the town finances at risk. This is not a motion, this is just my thought, that we put it on hold until we know we have the money. And also, in the meantime, consider another location. Now, you know people wanted it downtown, you wanted it downtown, and then I think things kind of a decision had to be made because you thought the ARPA money deadline was looming.
True.
So, for another location, I would not say remodel the old one. And I would not say remodel a bank. And the reasons for that is, first of all, you can't just put up partition walls. You have to have the proper structure to make it certified and so forth. Secondly, if you buy a bank and remodel it, now you're losing the tax revenue for that property. So even if the initial remodeling of a bank or any other building seemed to be less initially, over the cost of time, you have lost 20, 30 years of real estate revenue. So my proposal would be to take the existing plans and see if they can be transposed to Hillcrest, which was your other option way back when. And the beauty of that, it would also save $192,000 because the sewer is already there. And it would be downtown.
Okay. Our financial director. So you have done this for a very long time. Do you feel confident that we can do this without bankrupting the town and causing?
With the option that we brought before you tonight, is doable.
Do it what?
It's doable. Okay, and then we're going to sell the current police station, which just, we have to get an appraisal, but just a opinion was $300,000 now. I think before it was more, but it's in worse repair than it was before. I think that building's over 50 years old. But anyway, so we're going to take that money and we're going to also turn around and use it here. I agree too that we cannot have the police station stay there while we're doing a major renovation. So we're going to have to relocate them, and there's equipment and things that basically cannot be relocated. So as far as doing that, and I had some Facebook experience, and they said, well, buy the old bowling alley. Well, it just sold around October 25th for $2 million. That's not even starting the renovation. And I say again that Sebring bought an old bank building they asked the legislative delegation for, I think it was $7.5 million. Now let's just say it's $7 million to renovate. I think actually, and I don't know, we have some contractors, it's almost more expensive to renovate than it is to build new. That's just what it is. We did look at Hillcrest, and I don't know, I know for the town hall, everybody wanted to keep town hall downtown. So we looked at Hillcrest, we spent $30,000 studying it. I told them, I voted no not to do that. I mean, I said it won't fit there. And we don't have a through street. It's odd shaped, it's long and skinny. And so it's hard to fit anything there. I mean, maybe if we could get Publix to give us a through street, that would work better. So we did spend $30,000 to try to keep town hall downtown. It was like throwing money in the trash. And then we tried to, and I don't know how that turned out, but I know at one point we did look at Hillcrest. That seemed like a logical site for the police department. Did not work. Whatever reason, I can't sit here and tell you, but it's not that we didn't try. We have looked. Mr. Compton back there donated land on Main Street. He jumped forward as soon as we decided, and I have to say, it is my fault. I said, instead of trying to renovate, when was the town established?
27?
Yeah, okay, so 100 years ago, we've never had a police station that was built to be a police station. And I just said, with water dripping on my head, the last meeting we had at Town Hall down on the Circle, after we'd spent $150,000 with the new roof and everything else, I was sitting there and dirty water I needed to go get an umbrella. I said, trying to renovate that building. I said, it's an old building. And then I said, let's just build a new building, a real police station, one that's meant to be a police station, and everybody supported that. And Mr. Compton jumped up and said, I'll donate the land. Guess what? Wouldn't fit there either. So I'm not saying that we haven't tried, and we've talked about it, and I know for at least 8 years. And meanwhile, nobody's come forward and given a site that will really work. And it's not that we haven't tried, it's everybody's looking around trying to figure it out. The reason Sebring, I think, bought that old bank building was because once you have the downtown, there's just not a lot of space. The lots are small, you try to fit it in, it's just hard to fit in the downtown area. What I don't understand is the people that wanted to buy the old bowling alley. It's on 27, it's not in the downtown area, and we're just a few miles, 2 miles north on 27. So some of this I don't understand. But I will tell you this, is that if we can do this now, we just need to do it. It's deplorable. I had the opportunity to go actually see the police station, and it's hard to give tours because it's a safety factor. You can't have everybody just going through the police station. They're not safe then. The evidence place, it's not even... and the conditions our people are working in is, to me, shameful. I'm sorry, to me, it's just shameful. They spend most of their lives there. They work there 8 hours a day. They're there, and they're under deplorable conditions, and we need to do something. It's just not right. It's just like Town Hall. People were sharing a desk, and it wasn't like they were across from each other. They were side by side, like this close to each other. They were, weren't they? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was just not a good place to spend most of your life. And I can tell you right now, the police station in this condition it is, we should not have people working there. So anyway, that's my feelings on it. I've gone through this. We've tried. We've spent money doing it. And I just think it's time. It's time to go ahead and do it. I think we have the land here. We don't have to buy land. We can build a brand new station, and it will be the first real police station in 100 years that this town has had, and I think we should be real proud of that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Okay, I'll open up now to public discussion. Remember, you'll be limited to 3 minutes total.
Good evening, Marlene Barger, 760. A couple comments. First, I want to thank all the veterans in the audience. Thank you for your service, and I hope you have a wonderful day tomorrow. And I have one question when it comes to Hillcrest. Wasn't that for the fire department and not the police building? And haven't we adjusted the police building down in size? So the question is a good one that Councilmember Eberhardt had. Will the current one actually fit on the Hillcrest lot? Do we know? A couple other points that I want to make. I have some petitions here that were handed to me tonight. I'll give them to you, and has 30 signatures from people in the town. What they're simply asking for are other alternatives. One would be in this building. Have we really looked at this building? If I recall, back in 2019, there was a lot of concern that Nell Hayes had, as well as the mayor, about traffic on 27 and police cars getting out. Well, the traffic, as you know, is significantly increased today from what it was then. So how are we going to handle it today? The other thing I want to mention is the $800,000 grant request. I don't think that ever came before the town council. Did the town council ever make a motion to send an $800,000 request to the state? I don't think so. And if we're going to do it, why not send a request up for $2.2 million? And that would pay for it, because we do have a CFO whose top priority is first responders. So this is not to say that we're against the police or anything like that, because we aren't. But I did have the concern that we ought to be looking at some things. I'll turn this petitions in over to you guys. It was handed to me tonight. These are not mine. They were given to me. Just think about the town and think about the water problem that we have in the town, that some of our businesses, when it rains heavily, their businesses get flooded. We need to be able to address that, and do we have the funds to do that? Maybe we ought to rethink what we're asking for. I think we've missed the period, however, for the grant request going forward. So it seems to me we missed that opportunity, and perhaps that's something the town council ought to have discussed. But it goes back, did the town council ever pass a motion to put forward an $800,000 grant request?
I'll be happy to address that. Typically, grants don't come before council to vote on, and and the appropriations as well has not come forward. It's typically after we've been awarded is when we bring it forward, and then you accept it. And that's been the typical practice. And $800,000 followed suit from last year's request, so all we did was duplicate exactly what was done last year.
But did it go before the town council last year? And if you're saying grant requests don't have to come forward, then why did we have the grant request come forward for the pickleball courts? That came before the town council.
That's FERDAP that requires a match.
Correct.
But this one does not require a match, Ms. Barger.
And can I answer about the will it fit? Just back of the envelope, the Hillcrest site is 2.96, say 3 acres. The lot size is 116 by 630. The footprint of the police station, now I know you're going to have peripherals and so forth added on, but just the building, if I can read the fine print, was 46 by 96. So 46 by 96, fitting on 116 by 630.
I'd like to address the traffic concerns, which I had at the time. I think since we had that, we have now a new traffic light at Lakeview, and we have proposed, we hear anyway, we went to that meeting at Amazon. We should have another traffic light there as well in the future, in the next year or so, I would think. And so that does abate some of the traffic concerns that I had. The grant request does those, as our town administrator said, those don't typically come before council. Does it fit on Hillcrest lot? It may fit on the Hillcrest lot, but I think if I remember correctly, the challenge with the Hillcrest lot was the orientation of the building and the lot. And the reason we started out with that was that we thought at the time that we could go along with the fire department and we could share that lot with the fire department. But the fire department also works at glacial speed, and they couldn't come up with a design. And once they did their first design, they realized that the ladder truck didn't fit, so they had to go back, and we just said, enough of this. But the reason, as you're saying, yes, it would fit, but the orientation of the building on the lot doesn't make it work. And I think the water problems in town are a totally different issue than what we're dealing with here, and it's a different pot of money. But my concern also, as I've said before, is the safety of our civilian personnel working in that building, and there is nothing between them and an AK-47 if one should choose to appear there.
I think that traffic issue is a good comment because, and yeah, we do have some more traffic lights and one more to come, but we also have Amazon coming in with a lot of the traffic that they're going to bring. And I'll tell you, I think we all agree, just in the last couple years, it seems like the added traffic going up and down 27. So but I guess traffic studies are done and things like that. But I think with Amazon, and then if there ever is what do you call it, the Duke Energy Complex or something like that, that it will continue to add to the increased traffic that none of us like on 27. And those were a lot of the comments I got, that people don't want to come down here to the police department on 27. It's the traffic. And I know those were the comments that you had made back then, the whole police response time with getting from here back to the businesses, the schools, and the residents. So point well taken. And again, I appreciate the comments you make, because that's my concern. It's the affordability, and it's all the other things that we can use the money for. Absolutely, infrastructure can be used for our storm drainage, our road repairs, our sidewalks, and things like that. So it's a big trade-off of, okay, what are all the needs of the town, and then how do you prioritize for still our limited spending that we have?
Again, on the traffic thing, the mitigation that I was told at that time when I brought up the traffic concerns is that as far as response time, the officers really don't spend their time at the police station. That is an administrative hub, and that the officers are in the town or within the town limits, so that the response time was not going to be adversely affected by having it out here. But it would possibly be a more of an issue for someone that is coming out here to visit the police station for some official business or whatever. But I think we are also going to see, as much as we probably all hate to admit it, but we're going to see the town growing in this direction. So we feel like we're kind of on the outside now, but I think in several years we're not going to be on the outside. We're going to be much closer to the center of town. And what was the last thing that you said? Oh, priorities. The priorities, to my mind, in our town of Lake Placid, number one priority is public safety. And if we don't keep that in mind, that number one has to be public safety, then I'm afraid our happy little town is not going to be a happy little town anymore. We have to keep public safety in the forefront. A lot of things have to go along as well. We have to deal with the water problems. We have to have the infrastructure. We have to have all the things that Bert controls over there. We have to have all of that. But if we don't have public safety, we don't have a town.
All right, any other public comments?
Hello, my name is Josephine Comley at 607 Sunset Point Drive. Here's my concern. We've got this lovely, beautiful 17,500 square foot building. Is that correct?
Whatever it is.
Okay. Now, I hear all your concerns with traffic. That's everybody's concerns. My concern is when we talked about it the last meeting, that why don't we utilize this large square footage and use it for our police? How much, what was the new building going to be? 4,000 square feet for the police building? I'm sure we have ample 4,000.
4,700?
4,700.
Mason,
Do we not
47,
have
34,
5,000?
something like that?
Don't we have 5,000 square footage here that we could use? Because every time I go by here, there's no cars. Now, like you said, Nell, our policemen are not at their desk all the time, but we want them to have wonderful facilities. Don't misunderstand me. It is very important. Security is important. You mentioned something last meeting that you couldn't have the police in the same building that you have the city hall. Is that written in stone somewhere?
No, that's not.
Okay.
That's not exactly what I said, but please go ahead. I don't want to interrupt your minutes.
I just want to be So that's why I don't understand why we can't get this done. Do the renovation. We've got all the structure. We would save a ton of money. Our police officers could move on, do their job, and maybe down the road later on, if you outgrow that, then we can talk about a new building. But right now, we've got a priority. What is our priority? Safety. And here we have it. And I looked at the 2018 when you bought this building. I'm looking. Chief has an office. His staff has an office. You have all this space that you managed at that time. So what are our options? Be safe. So we ought to really seriously think about this building. Okay? I really would appreciate it because we need to get this resolved for our policemen. They do a wonderful job, and we appreciate you. Okay? Thank you.
My name is Rosemary Heath. I live at 588 Sunset Point Drive, Lake Placid, Florida. We had a public meeting scheduled to discuss the police department. Then it was canceled. Why was it not rescheduled? Shouldn't we have rescheduled it? We need to have transparency in this town. We need to be able to ask questions, understand. We need to know if there's other options. We need to have some questions answered. I don't know what questions they all are, but we need to have questions answered. We need to have a public forum. The residents in Placid need to have some input. Why are we never allowed to say anything? We're never allowed to say anything about the pickleball. We're never allowed to say anything now about the police station. There's never a public referendum for us, or public meetings. Anybody have any answer why? Anyway, I only had 2 days, and I went out, and this time I made sure I have names and addresses, phone numbers, and every one of these people live in Lake Placid, Florida, within the city limits. There's only 60 of them. If you give me more time, I can get you 3-4 times that. Thank you. And you do need something. You need a building of some kind. I'm sorry, this town doesn't use any public input. That's why you're not getting anything. I'm sorry.
Leanne Bemis, Compliance Coordinator for the Town of Lake Placid. I don't know if the public or even our esteemed panel of council members know, since I've been here in 2020, we have had to split 3 offices in this building to make room for our staff. And with the issue of moving it into one of these other areas in the building, we would either have to move it in here or the room across the way, as we call it, the community room, which would also block the information and technology room that is in that part of the building. So I just wanted to make everybody aware of that. Thank you.
I will say back when we were first start talking about doing a new town hall, one of the things that our community wanted was a community room. In this building, with the $995,000 plus the 12 acres, we got a full commercial kitchen. We got all the tables and chairs for, 180 people. And that's what the public wanted. They wanted to have a community room. So it takes up a lot of space. So I'm just saying, I think the building that we have now is adequate. We are renting out some space to Senator. We've rented out space to other people to keep it a municipality, to keep it a government center. I just wanted to say that as far as using this building.
Now, Coach. Okay. My name is Chet Heath. I live at 588 Sunset Point Boulevard. Sunset Point Drive. It seems every time we come to one of these situations, it breaks into a public discussion of whether we want one way or another. Why don't we have public forums, a printed legend, people can study, Instead of having it be a done deal when we come up here and it's so difficult to move off of center, just print something up. Make it so that we can see the alternatives, how they're priced, where they'll be, who they'll protect, who they might injure. And I really have trouble buying the argument that there's no place in this building for 5 administrators. The real problem is that people expanded in the government facilities to take up the space that was originally reserved for the police. That's the problem. Undo that. The police may need this building. Some of the people that have offices, they can take 2 people and put them in a 10 by 10 office. That's enough. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, again, Ray Royce. I'm glad to hear that we're concerned about the drainage downtown. I think Bill Brantley's still here, or Bill left. I think Bill Brantley once said our idea of drainage in Lake Placid was how do we get water to the railroad right away. Wasn't that you? That was you. Well, I'm glad y'all talking about that because, when you talk about CRA budget, I hope you take some of that CRA money and utilize that for drainage because that's exactly why we designed the CRA many, many years ago. Let me talk a little bit about Hillcrest because it's disingenuous for people to come up and say, we haven't had any discussion, we haven't looked into these options. We've looked, previous councils, previous administrations have looked at a number of options, looked at things, and I'll use the example of Hillcrest. We had this dream that, okay, they're gonna put the fire department there, the county's gonna put the initial infrastructure, they'll do the driveways, they'll do the water lines, they'll do the sewer lines, we'll piggyback on that, we'll use half of it. If you don't think there's a water and sewer cost at Hillcrest, call Linda Cruz, who has the property right next door, and ask her how much it's gonna cost for her to try to build. We're not building a building because of the cost of water and sewer at that Hillcrest site. She's not building a building because of that. So just because it's nearby does not mean that there's no cost there. Whatever savings, if there was any, you would end up eating up putting in driveway permits and parking lots. That's one of the advantages of this site. As one of the chief people that looked at this building, yes, there are some original plans that showed, hey, maybe we could put the police department in here. But the reality is, if you want to put the police department in here, then you're going to have to move the technological equipment and you're going to have to end the community room, you're going to have to end the kitchen, and you're going to have to move into that area. Because in this row of back offices back here, there is not enough room to dedicate even 3,000 square feet to police, not to mention the security of multiple things. So there was never, this building wasn't designed for that when we decided to buy it. We decided to buy this building because we needed room looking out the next 50 or 100 years, and we started talking about what are we gonna do as the town grows, how are we gonna have those things. And even the detractors at the time now are down here using that community room. So I encourage you not to get rid of the community room. It's one of the great things that's happened to our area. It's one of the things that brings people into town. There's all kinds of meetings that are being held here that are using local vendors, that are staying in the local hotels because they're coming to meetings that are happening here. I see it all the time. I'm involved in some of them. We brought our state senator's office into this building. We brought our representative's office in this building, which is paying dividends to the people of not only the town of Lake Placid, but the greater area. Thank you.
I just want to make a few comments, if I can, in between. Ms. Rose and Mr. Chet, I just wanted to make a comment regarding not being able to have the opportunity to be able to have feedback. We have had probably more workshops than my council and also the staff could probably shake a stick at this point. We have done everything in our possible opportunity and way to make it available for everybody to be able to email. If you want to have comments, you can come in with comments. There are surveys that are going around. I have one that was dropped off actually today, and it has a QR code We do have a Facebook page, and I will post on the reason why we do not have comments on. One, there are legal ramifications that have to be addressed. You also have to have staff who are able to monitor comments and things of that nature. And being very honest with you, we do not have staff who can sit around and just be on Facebook all day. And that's the reality right now with our small staff. So there are many opportunities for you to weigh in. We also have an email address that has been set up, and people can email in. That is also on the website, and it's also on the Facebook page. So we are open to hearing from everybody because everybody's voice does matter. But transparency has to come with truth, and that's what we're trying to make sure is being distributed out to the public is absolute truth with facts that we can back up. It's not going to be on feelings or what I think. It's going to be on what we can back up. Mr. Brantley.
Bill Brantley, Lake Placid. Do not live in the town of Lake Placid, but have two businesses in town of Lake Placid. Obviously, I was never a fan of Town Hall moving north. I felt it was deserting downtown Lake Placid. The reason for doing it was because all our development is going to be north. It's going to be north. That's where I have the biggest heartburn. I don't think it is. I don't think our development, I don't want to move towards Sebring. If you just look at an aerial map, look at the property in town Lake Placid around it, look at the Smokes property around ball fields, look at Durant's property, look at Dasher's property, look at Old Henson's property behind Discount Auto Parts. Let's start going to State Road 8. Look at Pfeiffer's property. That's going to be developed on the lakefront there. Look at the property at State Road 8 and working towards 70 and industrial down there. I just don't believe our movement is north. Look at an aerial map. All our movement, look at all the property around the sewer treatment plant. Look at all the property around Heartland. That's where we don't need to keep developing north and getting away from the heart of our town. We need to stay in a heart. There is so much property in downtown Lake Placid, or around downtown Lake Placid. That's where our focus should be. You know, we already have the solar plant, which has kind of blocked our movement north. You know, you're going to have, I guess, stuff on the other side of the solar plant. But our development needs to be downtown, around the ball fields, around Lake Placid, around Lake Saddlebags, all those large, I just ask you to look at an aerial map and look at all the vacant land that is south. I don't think our movement needs to be north.
Teresa Westover, 211 Buchanan Avenue Northeast. I am relatively new to this area, and I moved down here from a small town in New York, and I participated in the council, and I was on board of review, assessment review. You guys have a tough job. They have a tough job. In my opinion, as an outsider, I think we're just looking for your cost-based analysis of, is that the best we can do? What was your other proposals, and what were those just numbers? We're not seeing those numbers. And I understand history, but we got to get away from the history, and you guys got to look at today and what property is available today and move forward. I know we need to understand how we got here, but at some point you got to let go of how you got here, and let's look forward. Because they've waited too long from what I'm hearing, and I've only been here a year and a half. And I love this town. I come from a small town. And it's great, and I moved here because of it being a small town. And it's a great community. I don't want to lose that. And from an outsider's perspective, we're going to start losing that because there's a distance, a detach from you all and the property owners. I don't want to see that happen. I'm here today to help, to tell you that your outsiders, your new people coming in, support all of us. But you're right, we need to do it together. I agree with her, right? We have to do it together, but there's a little bit of transparency I don't see here that you guys probably did. You probably have those numbers and that. They've gotten lost along the way. Share those numbers. Share that, whatever the property was, and I forget. What numbers did you come up with that didn't work? And that this is
We got to bite the bullet. This is the best we can do, right? It's like when your roof blows off or you get a leak in your roof, right? And it comes in at $50,000 and that's the lowest bid that you got to do it. You got to bite the bullet and you got to do it. But let's be respectful in what reserves do we have, because we don't want to lose our reserves and raise the taxes more than we already have to. Thank you. No, sir. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate your comments. I've been sitting up here on this council now for over 20 years. I've seen a lot of things happen. The story that comes to mind was way before my time, and maybe some of you out here remember it, but the original town hall used to be on North Main Street. When they decided to move it from there to the circle, less than a mile away, that council was chastised for moving the town hall out of town. I know people don't like change. I understand that. But change is inevitable. And we have to decide what we think's best for Lake Placid, not only for today, but what's going to happen in 15, 20, 30 years. Billy Brantley's right. I don't know which way the town's going to grow. Personally, he thinks south. I think it's probably going to go both ways. But as the town grows, the need's going to grow. And we have looked at many options downtown, and none of them were going to fit the bill for what we need. For what we've got now, for what we have for the future, I personally think what we got is the best solution. And when we bought this building, not this council, but this council was chastised for buying this piece of property because we moved Town Hall out of Lake Placid. Personally, I think it was a great move. We've got a number of offices in here. We've got a great staff. I think it was a plus for the town of Lake Placid. And again, what we're going to decide tonight is not only for us, but for future generations. And I hope you all understand that. So, okay. All right, being no other comments, we'll bring it back and poll the council.
Councilmember Worley?
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes?
Yes.
Councilmember Charles?
No, because of the funding and also not getting a legislative grant. I'd like to make sure that we get money in bank.
Councilmember Eberhardt?
No financial concerns.
Mayor Holbrook?
Yes.
Pardon me? I'm sorry.
Do we award to Simcoe?
Because they're here in the audience, Simcoe is a no.
That was part of the motion, yes, it has been.
Isn't there 2 readings? No?
Pardon?
Isn't the motion 2 readings? I thought, no, maybe not.
No. The motion is 1 reading is done. That
Okay.
included the first reading of the ordinance amending the budget.
Okay.
And it also included the 5 recommendations. So it was motion to approve first reading on the ordinance and to approve 1 through 5 of the recommendations was part of the motion.
So we come back on the 17th and we approve the second reading of the ordinance.
Yes. But you're going to award the contract.
So you can tell them Simcoe is here now.
Can you award the contract without the budget being?
Yes.
Okay. Next, we'll go to B, fire hydrant piggyback contract, own of Jupiter, Florida, pricing R&M services for inspection, maintenance, painting, and flow.
Thank you, Mason with Cool and Cobb, and also Simcoe for your attendance. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Good evening. I reached out to R&M R&M Services, and had them check on a piggyback with the town of Jupiter for the inspection, maintenance, flushing, and painting of all hydrants in the system. Quantity of 350 hydrants at a cost of $65 a unit for an annual cost of $22,750. So I'm asking for approval and signing of the piggyback contract, and they can start in January. And this will cover all our hydrants in the system.
That's an annual cost of, what did you say, like $22,000?
$22,750.
Thank you.
It wasn't budgeted this year, but it will be budgeted as moving forward annually. So we'll take it out of the reserves so we can get all the hydrants
Okay.
up to spec.
Just for clarification, is this from O&M reserves or infrastructure reserves?
It's a infrastructure.
And the Regional Utilities Advisory Board did recommend this, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They approved and recommended.
So I'll go ahead and make the motion because this is another one that it's unfortunate the condition that we're in, and I appreciate, Bert is new. Are you at your 6-month anniversary yet?
I think February will be my year.
Yeah, so I appreciate and kind of the things that you're bringing forward that we need to fix. And this is one where we've got 350 hydrants. A lot of them have not been tested. This is a risk to the town to do this. I did look at all the paperwork. I thought it's very competitive because the piggyback agreement is for thousands of fire hydrants that they're giving us the same price. So I'll go ahead and make the motion to move forward, approve the piggyback contract with the town of Jupiter for the pricing for inspection, maintenance, painting, and flows of our fire hydrants in our town.
Okay. Second.
A second. Or you can,
Second.
whatever.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further comments from the podium? Seeing none, we'll take it to the audience. Bill Brantley, Keep Lake Placid Beautiful. There are a few fire hydrants that were sponsored by Keep Lake Placid Beautiful through the Lake Placid Art Club that was actually painted, the 4 on South Main Street. I didn't know this was on the agenda, didn't really think about it, but I just didn't know if the town, like I said, in that downtown area, to be able to paint the fire hydrants, something a little closer to our themes than just red or yellow fire hydrants. Just a thought as far as something a little more theme orientated in downtown Lake Placid. I'd like to see that done. I think that's part of the murals, part of the trash cans. There is something as far as the fire department, I talked to them, they do get dinged a little bit as far as on their rating, but they said it was very insignificant as far as that amount of fire hydrants, that they could be painted in a decorative color.
It'd have to be something that they can notice at night, so they can find the hydrants. That's why they're painted yellow or orange. So.
Gotcha. Obviously, the head at the top could be reflective, but they allowed us to do it several years ago through, like I said, through the art club at Lake Placid High School.
On the caps, they'll be painted though, because it shows the flows on them. On the very top part, it's a red, blue, or green. But that has to be done because that shows the flows to the fire department that's coming out of that hydrant. But from the bonnet down, you can...
It's just that if it could be discussed as far as something a little more theme orientated for downtown Lake Placid. We'll look into that. Thanks, Bill. All right.
It causes a ring if the volumes are not turned off, it rings. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a situation that
Altadena, California was in before they had their catastrophic fire. Maybe the fire hydrants worked, maybe they didn't. Knowing that it's good and that it works, wonderful. Thank you.
All right, bring it back, poll the council. Oh, wait, we got to vote, don't we? Oh, he's not done?
No, there's somebody.
Oh, one more. Okay, sorry, I didn't see you coming up.
That's okay. Josephine Comley at 607 Sunset Point Drive. Just a quickie, I think this is wonderful what we're doing. They have this contract going to have this contract. Here's my other concern, and I don't know how deep this contract goes. What about the pipelines where the valves are that feed into the fire hydrants? Is that something that you're going to be researching on too?
At this time, trying to conserve some cash and funds, that usually is part of it. But moving on the following years, as we get some extra funds, the isolation valves will be operated.
Okay, here's my question for the council. It's imperative that those valves work. If there is a breakdown, you could lose houses. You could be a few houses down the corner. Am I correct? What's the space between the pipes?
The valves are on right now.
Pardon me?
The valves are on right now.
They are on? And
Yes, they're
working?
all on, so that allows the water to go through the hydrant. In further inspections, they will operate them in case a car hits it or something. We have the ability to shut them down. But right now, all hydrants are fed and they're live with water.
And we know where these valves are?
That's the other part of it. We have to have staff go out and find these to be part of that contract.
See-
And that's in the works.
Okay, so that's going to be in the works now?
Next annual.
Which is what is the annual?
Well,
January?
they say they can do it in January, so it'd be probably the following January.
Okay, that's imperative, because one of those valves breaks, you're going to have a big problem.
Yep.
Because I'm getting an education, because I always thought the police department was the police department's responsibility for the fire hydrants. Well, we don't have a police department. And I don't think a lot of Lake Placid residents realize that. They
Well,
know we don't have a police department.
The fire departments used to do the flows, but the town or the municipality or regional utility owns the hydrants, and we do the maintenance on it.
Well, I appreciate the job you're doing and that you're looking into this and you're taking care of it, because this is a big issue.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bert, on that note, what type of costs are we talking to inspect the valves?
I believe it was like another $25 per hydrant. But I didn't have the staff right now to go out and locate. They have to be located first before they actually can operate the valves.
125 per,
No, I think it's another 25 or it's a minimal account, but we don't have the staff to go out. I have to go find all the valves first.
right?
They won't they won't attempt to exercise the valves until I locate them and mark them. So it's going to take probably a year for me to get all these done.
Okay, thank you.
This is usually part of the testing. This is just the one step down from that. I just wanted to get them flow tested, GIS'd, painted, then some maintenance on it. There's oils and grease on the cap, so that's basically what I'm trying to get done, and have them high-vis yellow or red, so the police, the fire department can find them. So we know all our hydrants are operational and doing what they're supposed to.
So that would be like phase 2. Would you use the same company
Yes, I've used them in the past.
for the, and I mean, just ballpark, what would it be for a 300?
I think it's another $10 or $15 for them to operate, but I have to find them all.
10 or 15
Yeah.
per hydrant?
Yeah, so it would be like $75, $80
Okay.
instead of the $65.
All right, anything else? All right, bring it back, poll the council.
Clarification, was it Councilmember Eberhardt that did the second? Okay. Councilmember Charles?
Yes.
Councilmember Eberhardt?
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes?
Yes.
Councilmember Worley?
Yes.
All right, Lake June Park pickleball project, that was tabled from last meeting. So bring it forward now.
The Town Council's previous motion requested that staff provide a funding strategy for council consideration for the upfront funding outlay of approximately $500,000 to be reimbursed upon completion of the project in accordance with grant reimbursement terms. We have included all of the Lake June Park pickleball conversations. The excerpts are in here from the minutes. There's a breakdown of the fiscal impact, and you have two options before you. At the previous council, we anticipated that we were going to be about $100,000 over on the project. We received updated numbers after that, and that is not the case. So at this point, we are requesting for option 1, outlay the general fund with reimbursement once the project is completed with no cost to the town. Option 2, obtain a bank loan to float the project for the $500,000, and the cost to the town for the loan is up to $50,000. And there are recommended motions for your consideration.
So, where do the updated numbers put us?
Rachel, do you want to come up to the front?
I meant the cost, because last meeting, it was anticipated to be $100,000 over the cost, plus that transportation study, $7,000.
Yes, ma'am. So the transportation study comes out of the $200,000 that the town has allocated out of their money. So that money will come out of there. We pay the first $200,000, and then the rest will kick in between FERDAP and RPAC.
Right. So are we back on track that the total project cost is estimated at the $699,274?
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
last meeting we thought it was going to be another $100,000 over that.
That's correct, and it's not now. We received the numbers, and it's not. So the budgeted total is at $699,274.
Do you have the breakdown between the elements?
We just put together the numbers. Yes, we do. We have
Okay.
it.
I would like to hear from Ms. Osborne, which motion do you recommend as far as financial director?
I think either one of the options would be good, but option number 1.
Option number 1?
Yes. Because it's going to be a short term. It's not going to be like a year or 24 months. I think it was a couple months just to put it together, right? And so with that being said, by the time we do the request for funds from the grant and RPAC, it should be less than 6 months.
Correct. When we're comparing to Sebring's and the build, it'll take them about 3 months to get the pickleball courts completed. So when we looked at it, we anticipated at the most a year, and it still comes in a little under the $50,000. So that's why it says up to $50,000.
That would be the loan, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Option 2 is the loan.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but that'll be the reverse scenario. Because it's going to be $50,000 just to have the line of credit. But if you don't draw down on it, then you won't have to pay anything.
Yeah.
So, but it's a good mechanism to have just in case we need it, but I don't foresee it.
And to me, it makes sense just to go ahead and borrow the money from ourselves. That way we're not paying the interest to the bank. And once we get reimbursed, the money goes right back into the fund. So it's not like we're losing the money. We're not. We're just taking it from the left hand and putting it in the right hand to pay for the project. Then the left hand will get the money back.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve the Lake June Park Pickleball Court project by funding the project costs through a bank loan, authorizing the mayor to execute loan agreement with the understanding that expenses will be reimbursed upon project completion through FERDAP and RPAC grant proceeds.
No second.
All right, got a motion and a second. Any comments from the podium?
That was the loan? Yeah. You made the recommendation to move forward with a loan?
Isn't that what you wanted to do?
Well, with the line of credit, is you don't have to draw down on it. It was just an option. I think that was an option too.
which could add 50,000, right?
Correct, but like I said, as long as you don't draw down on it, you're not having any expenses.
But
for
if,
it.
but if you need to, because of the delay in FERDAP,
Correct.
right? Because FERDAP again says they'll come out with their clipboard, right? It's the reimbursable expense, the same with RPAC.
Correct, it's just a safety mechanism. It's not one of the things that we have to use as a first option, it'd be secondary.
And that's your recommendation?
Option 1, yes.
No, she said option 2, though. She made the motion for the bank loan.
Well, I guess it's sort of kind of both together. It's like option 1, but with the line of credit, just in case. But we don't really have to have the line of credit, but it'll be one of those things to have as a
So
safety net.
is it option 2 or 1? I thought you were talking about
Option
option
1.
That's what I wanted to
Option
clarify.
Oh, okay, then I'll amend my motion to option 1, which is motion to approve Lake June Park Pickleball Court project by funding the remaining project costs through the temporary transfer from town reserves with the understanding that expenses will be reimbursed upon project completion through FERDAP and RPAC grant proceeds.
And I'll
Thank
move my second to the amended motion.
And just so everybody understands, the money's there. We just can't get it until the project is completed. So we're just going to take the money to finish the project, then when we get reimbursed, then that money goes right back into our fund. So it's not like we're spending money. We're borrowing from the left hand to pay for the right hand at this point. Then the left hand will get paid back.
So are you proceeding with option 1?
Option 1.
We're not to that point yet.
And then, you know, I had discussed that when we were talking about the budget and taxes and that, is that the reserves, this is not uncommon to have to pay for the project and then get reimbursed. And you can understand why. If they gave us the money and we didn't use it properly, how are they going to get it back? So I understand the whole process, but we're just going to use this money until we get funded back. And we have agreements for that, to be funded back for the money.
All right, any other comments from the podium?
Yeah, I do. Charlotte, I had sent you just the map, right, the pickleball map, and asked to, because it's still not clear to me. I get at the courts, right? We put cones where the courts are going to be, but there's still this uncertainty, and I know with the public and also myself, on the paving and the parking plan. So can you pull up? I've got some questions on those 3. Eva, I had sent it to you.
We did not put that on here because it's not part of this motion.
It absolutely is, because it's part of the RPAC motion.
It's not. This is only just to move the project forward. It's not discussing anything about the design or anything of that nature. All of that will come later. And typically that's handled through the engineers. It's handled through the contractors who are working on the project, no different than the police department. We leave that to the experts.
So here's my concern, right, is we had the meeting where we had the court to option 1 or option 2, and with that we expanded it to say let's go to RPAC rather than just the courts. Let's add on the paving, because when you're coming in there, the road is all kind of torn up. And so we went from the 443 of pickleball courts, which was originally $200,000 for FERDAP, $78,000 for town, and $156, double the 78. So it was about 443, 442. But then at a meeting, I think it was like the June or the August, is like, well, let's go to RPAC and let's just go for it to expand it to the 699, 274, which would include paving coming in. And so the RPAC agreement, you know, and again, at that time, it was like only 11 boat parking spaces, so there was kind of issues with that. So we're at the 699 with RPAC. We submitted to RPAC a design which includes paving, parking, and parking both pervious and paved. So I'm still trying to understand, because when I looked at the Kimley Horn, right, so we had the RPAC drawing, design, And the RPAC that we agreed to get the 299,274 is paving, parking, pervious, and paved parking. Then the engineer did something and submitted to Kimley Horn, and Kimley Horn has a whole different drawing that went to RPAC. And I'm really trying to understand on the Kimley Horn drawing, it doesn't look like it does anything on the pavement coming in. And it has, and I think that's the one that went to the LPA. That's the drawing that went to the LPA and said, we're going to create this, I'm going to call it driveway path up to the courts, and then there's concrete bumpers all over that people would park, but I don't see anything on that for the pavement coming in. And really, the question is, are we at risk with RPAC on getting the 299, because the 299 is the difference between the original 443. It was like 260,000 for the paving and the parking. And that's why it's hard for me to vote on yes, doing this, when I still don't understand the parking paving plan that we submitted to RPAC and how that may have, I mean, I think there was discussion before, we probably should have just decoupled those, right? Just had the courts and then had the paving parking plan, but we didn't.
Correct. And with all due respect, this question has been asked and we've answered here. And I will say it again for the public, that that was a conceptual design. Just like whenever we're going to pull it up here shortly, and we'll pull up what was provided by the Tourist Development Council. That's a conceptual design. We've spoken with RPAC. We've discussed it with them, and they have said that this is what they typically see in any other project. You scale back on it. In fact, Brandon said that the project that just got finished in Avon Park in partnership with the county was a project that he had to work on directly to scale back. So this is no different than any other project that gets done in municipal government practices.
And we had talked about this also.
Correct. That's why I was trying to look this way.
And another thing that scares me about the finances is that we won't get all of that money back, because the RPAC, the second one, application was justified because of the potholes in the area around by the boat ramp, and it was justified as that being a safety issue, and the money would go to paving over those potholes. If we're not paving over those potholes, which are a safety issue on the application, are we in default of what we said we would do? And you assured me that it's okay. I'm afraid.
What they would like is for something in writing, and understandable. I'm not going to say that that's not something that shouldn't be asked. However, in my practice in government, that's not the way it works. We work with them, and then they scale back when we scale back. So the first thing that it says in there is that we have to do the pickleball courts. That's the very first project that it says on there, and then the next is the paving, reinforced. And we're doing reinforced paving.
No, there is no paving being done by the boat ramp.
Correct.
And that was specified as a safety issue and was used to justify getting the second grant.
Correct. But we've spoken with Brandon, who he has said that this is where you scale back. Eva, you were on the call. You can attest to that.
Okay.
And he also has stated that my understanding is he's already been contacted by some of council, so if you haven't spoken with him, I would contact him directly. I don't know how to give you reassurance, except for this is typical normal practice that happens in municipal government. When we have projects, you scale back on it, and they're used to that.
I guess my disappointment is the constant feedback we've had of the potholes and the chuck holes and coming into the boat ramp, that whole area. And if we're now saying we're not going to address that, then I think we as council at the time we made that decision, when we said let's just add that on, because at that time it was just pickleball court, which would have been fine, but then we added this other on to get the additional 299 versus the 158. And then the town budget went from 78 to 200. So that additional $122,000 was from the town budget with the understanding we were going to do paving there. So I am concerned about, and I mean, I don't know if Brandon's the sole decision-making or the rest of the council. I don't know how that works, but
I can tell you-
that's my concern.
I'll be happy to tell you that as well, because we did ask that. We tried to get ahead of the questions. He said that it's inside his purview, that it does not go back to their board, that the way that they do it is once it's voted on, it does not come back to their dais. It is under his purview to be able to work with us to scale back the project, and that's exactly what he's done with Avon Park and Sebring.
May I? Okay. The other thing that came up is, you'll see later in the packet, the synergy plan for redesigning Lake June Park to make it a tourist revenue generating facility. And if we put the pickleball courts where they're intended to go, that is right in the middle of what it messes up their plans. So what do we do?
I think that's pretty easy. We don't do the synergy plan, because the problem with the synergy plan was that they weren't given all of the jigsaw pieces to put in the puzzle. They were not told about the pickleball being in that location, and although it's been in public view for a good 3 years, for some reason, the leader of the TDC failed to notice that, and so it was not included. And they have said at the end of that meeting that they would come back with another plan that included all the pieces in that puzzle.
I just wanted to say that the last plan we had, a master plan for the park, was, I think, in 2006. That plan, and everybody talks about green space down by the lake, it did not have that paving down there. It did not exist. It was grass. The only road was north of the furthest south pavilion. And I would like to see that. I don't like having all of that. What if that was all green space and people could be down closer to the lake, enjoying the lake like it was originally planned? I know we're going to have another plan, but I think not paving is a smart idea right at this point. Let's just do what we need to do and then look at the synergy plan. They're going to try to work around everything we have, including the Miracle Field. That's been a necessary, you got to work around that. You're going to work around this. And I just think that's a good plan. I am not for doing any more paving down by the lake. I mean, sorry, I think that should be green space. And I think the more green space we'd have down in that area from the pavilions all the way to the lake is what we should do. And that was part of the original plan. This is my opinion.
So, Charlotte, can you just clarify how that parking, again, courts in that location, not a concern. That Kimley Horn drawing with all of the, call it the parking and the concrete bumpers for parking space on the pervious. So that's a big concern. But so what's the next steps? You had said, well, that's all up to the engineers, and we don't have any say in that, and da-da-da. So I'm just trying to understand on that.
It'll be up to them. We'll move this forward. We've got it. You'll vote on it tonight so that we know what the funding source is. And then we just have to, Eva, what's the next step on your list?
Next step is it finishes process to get the swift mud storm. It will move to the next process where it's going to do the stormwater. Stormwater permit has to go for that. It takes about 3 months plus to receive that back. Then the next step comes and we start dealing with, I think once we get to a certain point, excavation point's piggyback, Nitty's piggyback is going to come before council for approval. And that will be the start and the kickoff. But right now, we are just waiting for the stormwater permit.
And does the Kimley Horn have where the drainage is in that, Charlotte or Eva, whoever?
That was all submitted to Swift Mud. There has been one adjustment that they had to do, that's going back to Swift Mud, but then it moves forward.
So are we going out to bid on this project?
It is my understanding we're going to bring before you 2 piggyback contracts, and I'll let Bert Harris address that.
It appears that 2 contracts do apply for the piggyback, both the Nitty portion, which is the construction of the pickleball, and a Rancourt or excavation point on the roadwork.
And the lighting?
I don't recall the lighting. Sorry.
The only thing I'm aware of, I mean, if we do have to go out for bid, my understanding under excavation points contract with Sebring, they have the lighting option under their contract. So it is a possibility we would not have to go out for bid based on council's approval of that piggyback.
So excavation does the, I was going to say the word paving. They do the, and the lighting? Is that what Sebring did?
It's got electrical, infrastructure, service, switchgear, lighting, controls, conduit, wire, labor, and equipment.
Which Sebring project was that, Charlotte?
I don't have that in front of me. I can get that for you, but I don't have that in front of me.
Okay.
All right, any other comments? We'll take it to the audience.
Josephine Comley again, 607 Sunset Point Drive, Lake Placid. Okay, here's my concern, communication. At last month's meeting was the first time in 2 years that we knew that we had to put up the entire amount of money and then become reimbursed. So I don't know how council can look me in the eye and not inform the taxpayers the last 2 years that we cannot get our refund until the project is done. Now, here's what scares me. I'm going to tell you in a second. If this contract, you said, Charlotte, it's very flexible. You feel confident, okay? Now here's what happens. If it does not pass for whatever reason and whatever new law comes into play, who's going to be responsible to reimburse? You said now it's $699 is what it's cost. It went down from $800,000 to $699, correct? The pickleball court now you said was going to be, let's round it off to $700,000. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. Okay. If, for whatever reason, we are not reimbursed, you're talking to taxpayers. We only have 1,000 taxpayers in the city of Lake Placid. We shouldn't be on the hook because we had no communication that we had to lay this money out. This issue would have came up 2 years ago, and this would have been back and forth. My question is, are you or Mr. Mayor or Nell or Debra, are you going to put that money up if we do not get our money back?
Don't forget Colleen.
Well, she doesn't approve it. Neither did Nell at the last meeting. They had wanted to table it because the police department is more valuable than laying out any money for pickleball. So let's do one project at a time. So you're jumping ahead, and last week we were tabling it, 2 people. Now, the rest of the council refused that. Let's wait another month. So now you've made your decision that you now have lowered the price to $700,000. Now, we should have absolutely something in writing that that's all it's going to cost us, okay? And we should have in writing who's going to stand behind that if we are not reimbursed. That's a big deal. We don't have this kind of money to throw away. For heaven's sakes, we need a police department. And our focus is what? Pickleball? It's amazing. And I'm a pickleball player, okay? So you need lights, you don't have lights. You're really not giving us the answers tonight.
Time.
Okay? Poor communication.
Mr. Mayor, council, whether you like pickleball or dislike.
State your name and address for the record.
Okay, thank you. Scott Porter, 430 Foxdale Road.
I think we need to talk in the microphone it's being recorded, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Whether you like pickleball or dislike pickleball, you'll have to admit it's taken America by storm. Okay. If I may, can I get a show of hands in tonight's attendees that play the game? Just show of hands. Thank you. I did some checking, some statistics which come from 2023. And at that time, people playing the game from the 3 years previously went up 223%, and that was in 2023. At that time, 20 million Americans were playing the game. It's a game that young and old alike love the game. And Mr. Mayor, you spoke earlier about future generations, and believe me, I can only say that in 2025, those numbers have gone way beyond 20 million Americans. Right here in this city, I mean, a lot of people, we can't find courts. We have to wait, we go to Sebring. So that's what I wanted to convey to you this evening. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and the pickleball courts have been approved. That much is done. We just had to come up with the money to pay for it in advance. That's what this motion is about.
And part of that, we moved here 3 years ago on November 14th, which is my birthday. Happy birthday.
That's my son's birthday.
And we were talking about this 3 years ago, I believe.
Oh, it's been going on a long time.
Yeah, it's been going on a while.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll get it resolved and break ground.
Right.
But if you build it, they will come.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Rosemary Heath, and I live at 588 Sunset Point Drive, Lake Placid. I would like to know, and I think we all should know, how many of these people that play pickleball that are right here tonight live in the city of Lake Placid? Okay. As long as they all do.
Please don't shout from the audience. If you wish to be heard, please come to the podium.
Marlene Barger, 760 Sunset Point Drive. We do know that the preponderance of citizens in the town do not want pickleball courts in their park, their waterfront park. They all support pickleball. We all agree it's a growing sport. But for a minute, I want to take you back to 2006 when we had a mayor, Tom Kasanis, and the question was up at that point about doing away with the police department and hiring the Highlands County Sheriff's Office. The town council in December of 2006 called for a special meeting so the citizens could talk about it. That special meeting took place in January of 2007. The mayor made the statement at the beginning of that meeting. It was very clear. First and foremost, he talked about what it was about. There was only an option: do we keep the police station or go with the Highlands County Sheriff's Office? But he said, I want to hear from my constituents. I want to hear from the people in the town of Lake Placid. Once I hear from them, then I will open it up to people outside the town. The town hall was filled with people. There were lots of opinions, yes and no, but mostly keeping the town police department. They wanted to keep it. The mayor then stopped the meeting and he said, thank you very much. I apologize for calling this meeting, and Bert, you might remember this. I apologize for calling this meeting. I thank all the people who are here. It's clear to me that people of the town want to have the police department and keep it here. There's no need to bring people in from outside the town. We need to do the same thing here because it is on the backs of the taxpayers in the town. There are multiple tennis courts at the high school. I guess it was the president of the pickleball club said he'd love to teach kids how to play pickleball. We should be looking at converting 2 of those tennis courts into 6 pickleball courts. It would be a great opportunity to bring the kids in Lake Placid into pickleball and even have them learn about pickleball. But to take away the park, if we do that, I offer this. Get rid of all the parking. If the pickleball players can't walk from Jackson Road and the offshoot from Jackson Road to the pickleball courts, maybe they shouldn't be playing pickleball. We don't need to do all the paving in the green space. If you're going to put pickleball courts there, and it seems like we're going to have a 2-2 vote and the mayor's going to break the tie, why don't we just do away with all the parking there? We've never considered that. We don't need the FERDAC grant. Well, the FERDAC grant we don't need the RPAC grant. Let's do away with the parking. Let's have an option or at least a compromise. I don't see that, and I don't see any opportunity for the town to actually listen to the citizens, and I think the citizens deserve it. And one thing I want to mention that was said earlier that I didn't mention, I want to thank the staff of the town, and I want to thank all of the town council members currently, because they work very hard and they work in depth. A 1,000-page agenda tonight is an example, putting it together and then reading it.
For the record, Charles Wilson, 763 Sunset Point Drive. We're not necessarily comparing apples to apples, public service with recreational opportunities for the residents and county residents in the surrounding Lake Placid area. They're not the same thing. This is being funded by the state of Florida, Highlands County, and a match with some money going in from the town of Lake Placid, which I'm very appreciative. This has been litigated, relitigated, and sometimes you just don't get your way. Things don't go your way, and you just move on. There is no reason why we should be at this point. These courts should have been built a year ago. This is emblematic of the things that continue to be relitigated and relitigated by a vocal few in this community that has to stop for this town to move forward. This is low-hanging fruit, people. The money is guaranteed. We have a grant with the state. It's guaranteed money. Build it. Same thing with the county. It's guaranteed money. We've already expended currently $60,000 of town match money in it. Why in the hell would you stop now? And unfortunately, because we've been facing all these obstacles of kick it down the road, well, maybe let's see how long we can extend it out. Let's get the TDC involved. Let's wait till there's another election. That's what we're trying to do here, people. That's the whole thing. Let us move on, get the things built. Unfortunately, had we had cooperation and done this in the beginning, you're not going to have the money to pave the upfront anyway. You got to build the tennis court or the pickleball courts. We investigated the high school. That would be, they go apoplectic if you walk on there and even put a chalk mark on there. It's a joint deal with the Board of County Commissioners, and it would be a difficult thing to marry the two to get the funding. That's the reason why we did. And to say that everyone in this community doesn't want it in the park is totally disingenuous. Thank you.
Okay, I'm not that tall. Teresa Westover, 211 Buchanan Avenue Northeast. I'm not opposed to the pickleball fields. What I'm opposed to is where we put the money, when we put the money. Y'all in the past have not appropriated your funds correctly in a smart way. You've got now where you've got to pay, we're going to spend $22,000 a year on fire hydrants that we should have been doing all along, and you haven't, right? So we're playing catch up there. You're playing catch up with your police department because you should have had a place for them better years ago from what I'm hearing, right? What's more important, safety, public safety, or pickleball courts at this point? And I'm confused. Are we spending, once we get reimbursed, I can't tell, is it nothing out of pocket for the town, or is it 70,000 that we're putting out? 200,000. Put the 200,000 towards your police station and do the pickleball, fund it next year. Put it in your fiscal for next year. Let's get our ducks in a row first before we go for recreational items. I think we should do pickleball, fine. The playgrounds, they're a necessity. Our children need to have places to go play. We need grass for them to play on. They need access. We need parking. I agree we need parking. We need paving because you have elderly that need that to be able to enjoy those things as well, to go with their grandkids. They can't just walk on the grass. There's difficulties for them. But let's get our ducks in a row. Let's take care of the public safety items that you all keep talking about tonight, and then you bring up pickleball. To me, pickleball is not top priority. I think it should be on the list, absolutely, just not right now. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second for option 1. It was voted on?
You have a first and a second, yes. We do roll call.
First and second? Okay. Bring it back, poll the council.
Councilmember Worley?
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes?
Yes.
Councilmember Charles?
No.
Councilmember Eberhardt?
No, I agree with putting the 200,000 toward the police department.
Mayor Holbrook?
Yes. Okay. We'll now go to D, Highlands County Tourist Development Commission and Consultants of Lake June Sports Complex.
This was put on the agenda by the council members that were in attendance. A workshop between the Town Council and the Highlands County Tourist Development Council Representative Ms. Casey Wall-Hart was held on Tuesday, November 4th. Other representatives were in attendance. Consultants Jason Boudoir with Synergy Sports and Alan Verlander with Airstream Ventures presented recommendations for the development of Lake June Park as a potential sports destination. The Town Council requested that these recommendations be brought forward to a regular meeting for further discussion and to determine whether to proceed with the budgeted lighting replacement project for the park or not. Because in the discussions you will see that we would have to, the pavilions were in question, and then also the lighting. So motion 1 is to direct staff to review the Synergy Sports and Airstream Ventures conceptual recommendations. I want to say that conceptual again because it continually comes up in these meetings. Conceptual recommendations and return with alignment options for council consideration. To pause all non-essential maintenance projects at Lake June Park during this review, excluding the approved pickleball project, which shall continue as scheduled, and to direct Synergy Sports and Airstream Ventures to incorporate the current pickleball project into the updated conceptual renderings. Motion 2 is to allow the scheduled lighting and pavilion upgrades at Lake June Park to continue as planned and budgeted, and to direct staff to work with Synergy Sports and Airstream Ventures to review their preliminary concepts, evaluate additional design possibilities, and ensure integration of current town projects, including the pickleball improvements, into any updated conceptual renderings for the park. And I will pull up. Eva, do you remember what page?
I don't. You want me to scroll it?
I was trying to.
You just got to scroll down. It's there. It's further, way further down.
Here it is.
I'll go ahead, make a motion to, for motion 1, as read by our town administrator. This would stop non-essential maintenance projects, but I think that we need to, money-wise, be conservative and not do anything else until we get the plan itself, the conceptual plan. It is going to be conceptual, we can still change it, we can modify it when we get it back. So, motion 1.
Can I make a few comments just so that we're aware? Harry, you may need to get the microphone so that you can make sure and communicate some of the concerns that come with that vote. The lights are a huge concern already for our current ball league. As we stated in the budget process, they are outdated and it is now causing a hazard, a safety hazard. So that needs to be to the forefront. The other thing is all of the pavilions have been removed and we were moving forward with the replacement of those. Now that has stopped at this moment as of today. We said halt for a moment. But both of those projects were moving forward. So
I was unable to get a hold of Chapman today, so I have not, he does not know.
Okay.
Of who? What was?
Chapman Construction,
That's the lights or the pavilion?
pavilions,
So how many pavilions are being rebuilt, Harry?
all 7.
So I'm just going to make a comment on that one. When you look at the Kimley Horn drawing again for the, call it the, I keep wanting to say the word paving, but for the pervious parking that comes in for the pickleball courts, it looks like it's going over a couple of the pavilions, those little pavilions. So that's why I keep asking which is the plan that we're following. But I think what might be important for the audience is
Was there a second to Deborah's motion?
No, there was not.
Okay. I would like to, just for discussion purposes, I would like to make a motion for motion 2. But I don't know when I can do that or if I can do that.
We would have to wait, and does Deborah have a second for her
right.
motion?
I'll second Deborah's for discussion. Maybe I jumped into discussion too soon, but I know there was a question to Harry I wanted to clarify. And I think for the people that didn't participate in the workshop, this here, what they're basically saying is, and in the packet is a whole lot of good information of bringing economic development to our town through an expanded sports complex. I mean, we recently had the lacrosse camp that came for 2 days, and the economic impact that Casey Hart provided was, and Deborah, you can help me on the numbers if I say them wrong, $208,000 of economic impact for that weekend, something like 794 hotel rooms, 300 participants. So there's a lot of value of using our sports complex. And then there's a whole area on here of what additional type of sports could come.
I'm looking for it for you.
Yeah, what was interesting is, you know, they presented this, and of course, we're all like, well, the parking's not good. Can you pull the parking over there? So that was a very good workshop where there was a lot of interaction. The ball people were there, the youth baseball were there. One lady had surveyed the middle school. She works in the middle school, so she gave comments of what the kids from the middle school, would be looking. But what was interesting on this concept, and again, it might be a pipe dream, but I guess you have to start somewhere with a vision. It would be all AstroTurf fields. So you wouldn't have a lot of the grass cutting, the fire ants, and the maintenance like that. Recognizing there's like a lot of, if you will, ideas that came out from the workshop. One of the things I said is, let's keep in mind that park today is used for 3 different purposes. One is the sports, the second is the boaters, and the third is recreation with the community, the barbecues and the swimming and that. And so we want to make sure that we don't in any way impact our current residents, but let's see how we can expand on that. A lot of good brainstorming with a path going all around the outside with exercise trails, and so there was a lot, you know, beach volleyball, all kinds of good information that then they're going to take back and come back with another revision of it. And again, one of the comments was, okay, pickleball needs to go there, right? So make sure that you work pickleball courts into your design. And then the question came up, and I posed the question, okay, we're going forward with $300,000 of improvements. We've got lights, we've got bleachers, we've got, you know, other things. Should we put that on hold? And that's kind of what this is. Do you continue forward with improvements that we're making, knowing that they may be throwaway dollars? Of course, if it's something that's safety related or something that we need, that's a whole different discussion. And I think that's just a little backstory of kind of what this is about, you know, not necessarily putting everything on hold again because we've decided and it's in the budget, but saying if we think something like this could turn into reality, what's the timing of that? It's something that's pretty exciting, that could be very exciting, you know, not just for those who play sports, but also those who use the park, and then for our businesses with restaurants and hotel usage. So that's kind of just to level set for discussion why it's, do we move forward with working with them on that? Do we invest money, or can we put it on hold? So I appreciate, you know, the feedback that you're giving on, you know, what's safety related we need to do right now versus what's something that we could kick the can down the road a couple years. Debra, anything to add to that? Because you're the TDC representative.
Oh,
I have some things to add too.
Yeah, well, we can, you know, this is, the only concern would be is if, I was thinking more stop everything until we get the conceptual plan. And if it does take 2 years to do it, then move forward with what we need to do. I don't think the conceptual plan will tell us, you know, give us a guide to what we put in now and how quick it's going to be done, and we could look at that. How often do they play at night? Every
day.
Every day?
And now you have the time change, which is darker sooner.
Okay, and I just was
You've got poles out there
thinking.
that have absolutely no light on them.
Okay.
What's
Yeah,
that, Harry? I can't hear you.
I said they play every day out there, and now you have the time change, so it gets dark earlier. You have field 4, you have poles that don't have any lights, so you have a lot of dark spots. Field 1 and 2, you have a lot of poles that are rotten at the top. So that's what I'm saying. And then on fields 1 and 2, a lot of them are rotten at the top. The next windstorm could bring the brackets down. So if you're going to wait, then you may end up having to close a couple fields just for safety on the lighting.
yeah, and initially, I was of the opinion to pause on everything until we talked, and I don't think we can pause those things anymore. I changed my mind.
I have several things here. First of all, I agree. I think George has said it. We can't pause what Harry's doing. We have to do some of the repairs that he's doing now, and I think to pause that in any way so that Casey Wall can have time to develop a plan. I've seen her time frames of other plans that she's done, and she's into the glacial speed category as well. The improvements need to be made now in our park, and I don't think the things that Harry is doing now are going to impede anything that might come from this design team if they are using all of the pieces to the puzzle that we want in there. We want, I believe, if I understood the meeting that we had, which, as you said, Colleen, was very informative and very open and good, but we want this to be a community park. And it's nice that it brings some development, and it's nice if it brings tourists and heads and beds, but we really want that park for our community. And I think that's so important to keep in mind. Heads and beds are nice, and yes, they bring us tourist tax, but I think that the other things we have to keep in mind is these are a community asset, and they are not meant to fund the TDC. They're meant to be an asset to our community. The other thing that we have to understand is these folks from out of town are coming in here to tell us what we're going to do with our community park. And by the way, did you happen to hear, we said, how long is this going to take to develop? And didn't they say a year to develop? I think it was a year or so. They can develop the plan, but I mean, once they started construction, I thought it was a year.
It was a year, and then I was contacted by the ball club because they became very panicked
Well,
about how
yeah.
quickly this was going to happen, that it was their first time seeing this. I had to reassure them that this was all very conceptual. But when Harry and I talked about it, we were thinking that it's going to run, don't hold us to this, but based on their timeline, it to me was about 2 years because they've got to develop the plan and then they'll have to do construction.
Well, I thought and I agree with you, Charlotte, that's the way I got it too. But what I got from this was that our community ball players and teams were going to have to relocate for an entire year while the fields are being developed. Now, yes, I know that's progress and all this kind of stuff, but where are they going to go for a year? Where do they have? They have nowhere to go. And the schools won't let them. Let me tell you, trying to get onto a school field is like trying to get into Fort Knox. It is not easy. And I understand why they have to do that. But I think that is a really big challenge for me. Also, we have, hopefully now we move forward with pickleball, and I'm very pleased to see that. Because for our community here in Lake Placid, we have really no sports. We have no golf course anymore. We have no shuffleboard courts anymore. We have some tennis courts that are on high school properties or on private properties. So pickleball is very important. Our beach is very important. Our playgrounds are very important because that's all we have for our community. So I don't like to see somebody from out of town coming in here with the focus being heads and beds. That's their main focus, is heads and beds, and it's not my focus. So that's why I'm not in favor of motion 1. I don't mind motion 2 because that lets them go ahead and do their thing, but I don't think we can stop because we will not do anything for 2 years. If we stop now, Harry his hands will be tied for 2 years because we will be waiting for them.
And I didn't know the extent of what we needed to do, but I still support this plan. I think that these fields can be used year-round by our community. The way it is now, you know, that's a shrine to how many people in the entire community, especially the town, that don't get to walk over there, don't get to touch it. The concessions, it's like this, how much percentage of that field is put into that only a few people get to use. This would be multi-use, and, you know, they can still do that. So maybe we do have to redo the fields. Maybe there is a pace band, but it's going to be better. Then the fields will be better. We will bring them up to where we can maybe have some tournaments for our kids. I don't think that's a bad thing. So there might be a little bit of hesitation. Now, if we're going to have to stop the fields from playing, I can see that we just need to move forward. I don't know about the pavilions. I don't know how much they cost. Do we go ahead and build the pavilions that may be torn down, or I mean,
think we
I understand the
pavilions
lights
and tell them that's part of the puzzle. That's a jigsaw piece you got to work around because we need those pavilions for our people that want to use the lake. This is one of our jigsaw puzzles.
Well, I was just thinking, I think they would be, you know, I'm against that whole gravel area. It wasn't part of the original plan. That should all be grass, and maybe the pavilion should be along the lakefront, like instead of over there on the side. So that's the only thing I was concerned about. If we're spending money on pavilions, maybe we could locate them in a better position. It's all coming so quickly. But I'm up for whatever you guys want to do. I'm just trying to look at the whole picture down the road, and I think this is a good plan to do this. I really do. I think the fields will be much better shape. So whatever we spend in the meantime that we're going to have to tear up, I don't know.
So just to go on, Deborah, with Councilwoman Worley for what you're saying, and then also the feedback on the safety issue, right? Because that was the whole thing is, should we? But certainly, if it's a safety issue, it changes my mind too. I mean, so I'm fine with withdrawing my second on the putting everything on hold, because I think the pavilions, all those little pavilions are used a lot. They're used, you know, you've got the 4 pavilions on the beachfront that are used a lot with the kids swimming and that. And then also the others are more for the ball people or just people coming and sitting having a picnic too. They are used a lot. So I'm fine with, you know, withdrawing my motion.
And I'll withdraw my first.
And if you want to redo it to the other.
Well, you all can decide what
I mean,
you
because
want
I
to do.
agree. I think the concept of what they're talking about is interesting. And we did, you know, per the comments you were making, I think we enforced on them a lot. This is community first. But yet, this park has a lot of character with the waterfront, with the size of it, to put trails that could really attract tournaments and that because of the character of and the uniqueness of the park. And so therefore, it was like, how do we get everything we want for the community? And I think we threw it on that list with them to go back and make sure that, you know, what I mentioned earlier, you've got sports, you've got boating, and you've got recreation for the community. And I think they listened. And so, anyways, I do support the hearing more about what they can come up with, and I think that's going to be over time.
So has the motion been withdrawn?
The motion has been withdrawn.
Then I will make a motion for motion 2, to allow the scheduled lighting and pavilion upgrades at Lake June Park to continue as planned and budgeted, and to direct staff to work with Synergy Sports and Airstream Ventures to review their preliminary concepts, evaluate additional design possibilities, and ensure integration of current town projects, which could be in capital letters, by the way, including the pickleball improvements and any updated conceptual renderings for the park.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. That was on motion 2.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other comments from the podium? All right, hearing none, we'll take it to the audience.
Pam Fentress, 12373 Lost Lake Drive. I've seen a lot of different plans like this over the years. This is like a concept, a vision plan. You were talking a while ago about it be a year before you can get the vision plan back and then a year to construct. Where are you going to get the $5 million to build this park? And I know they have, I watched the thing online, but there's different options, public-private partnership. You could do this, you could do that. You're on, I hope y'all move forward and get the repairs done to the lighting poles and the pavilions. But this is an ongoing process. By the time you get around to actually constructing it, the 3 to 5 million they spoke about, we know it's 5. We know it'll probably be 8. And then I didn't really realize it until just now, but I didn't see playground equipment on that. Is it on there with the 4 ball fields? And so, anyway, it's just something like how we fight against one thing because it's going to take away the playground equipment. And then on that visual on the map, I see, and I'm all for the youth sports and youth baseball, so don't get that wrong. But this vision plan did come up quickly. And so I hope you take the time to really focus on what you really want, the different sectors and stuff, but be realistic. Who's going to pay for that? On these different things we have, I mean, in the maintenance, ongoing operation and maintenance. So if you have a $5 million field, how much money is it going to take annually in your budget to take care of it? And who's going to pay for that? I mean, it's just those things that you need to really fully vet out before you go full in. Thank you.
So Pam, you know I put playgrounds on there, right? Definitely. No, but that was the whole list of things that we said, here's what also needs to be put in there. And to your point, yeah, that whole financing and everything is like, it was on the list too. Go ahead and come back, but this is going to be a process with a lot of questions.
Good evening. My name is Bob Asbury. I've been a member of this community now for 32 years. I have been affiliated with Little League Dixie Youth for all of that time. And I was just elected to the board. So forgive me if I haven't been here for all of the workshops and everything. Is it my understanding that you're going to rebuild the 4 baseball fields again? Because you've only got 2, what's called the kids' fields for the 9 and 10s, the 11 and 12s, and all that, okay? But we could still use the Pony League field because without that, the older kids can't play.
The way that this is designed, it is AstroTurf, but it's multi-use. So what they do is you can put different structures out there. You can put the plates and all that on this field, and then when you're done playing with that sport, you remove them, and then you have another sport. So everything should stay the same as far as, and maybe we could even have more fields if we did eventually need them. But this is a multi-use, they call them flat fields. So you can do soccer on it, lacrosse on it, you can do Little League, you can do T-ball, you can do all of those sports on these fields.
Okay, now my other concern is the lighting. What I'm going to propose is this, is you have fall ball happening right now, and then in February, they will start their regular fall ball, okay? And that will go till May, I think, or just a little bit before that. If we could just do 2 of the fields right now and hold off on the 2 smaller fields and let the kids play, we would appreciate that. And somehow, also during the day, have somebody come in and re-amp those lights during the day. We would appreciate that as well. Would that be doable?
That motion 2 says to allow the scheduled lighting and pavilion upgrades. So I think that they will happen, right? On motion 2, which is the one that we're considering right now.
Okay. I was just trying to clarify that. I do apologize.
Okay. All right, now bring it back. Poll the council.
Councilmember Hayes?
Yes.
Councilmember Worley?
Yes.
Councilmember Charles?
Yes.
Councilmember Eberhardt?
Yes.
All right, we'll now go to Resolution 2025-18, adoption of parliamentary rules. A resolution of the Town of Lake Placid, Florida, adopting rules of procedure to ensure full, fair, and orderly public discussion at all town council meetings, providing for the use of Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised, as supplemental parliamentary authority, affirming compliance with applicable Florida statutes, including the government and the Sunshine Law, repealing all resolutions in conflict herewith, and providing for an effective date.
I just want to say thank you to our town clerk, because this has been something that she has been working on for months, wanting to get this to the forefront, and it was held up a little bit because we've had some other pressing matters with us vetting out with legal. So thank you, Eva, for helping us bring this forward. If it does pass, we have some additional education that will come forward with some videos and some training and things of that nature to help us. So thank you, Eva.
How does this change our current Muni code? Because I thought that's what a lot of this is in, or this is completely different? Because I thought our current Muni code follows parliamentary procedures, no?
I don't think this is in Muni Code. Well,
Yeah.
we have an ordinance in Muni Code. This is a resolution. Our ordinance and town charter allow us to adopt procedures, and this one is just saying we're going to follow the law and superimpose Robert's rules, well, not over, but subject to the law.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to that effect, except you just flipped it and I can't say it. I'd make a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-18, a resolution of the Town of Lake Placid adopting rules of procedure to assure full, fair, and orderly public discussion at all it's 8:30. Town council meetings, providing for the use of Robert's Rules of Order newly revised as supplemental parliamentary authority, affirming compliance with applicable Florida statutes, including the Government in the Sunshine Law, repealing all resolutions in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Further discussion from the podium? Hearing none, we'll take it to the audience. Okay, seeing none, bring it back. Poll the council.
Councilmember Hayes?
Yes.
Councilmember Worley?
Yes.
Councilmember Charles?
Yes.
Councilmember Eberhardt?
Yes.
Okay, we only got a couple other things. Number F, Lake Placid Camp and Conference Center, water line extension SRF loan application. I'll turn this over to Bert. Bert 2.
Bert's.
The one that still works here.
All right, let's see. Statement of issue is the Florida Department of Environmental Protection approval of state revolving loans for the town amount in the amount of $2,800,000 as a loan to the town. The construction cost of the new town water line to Lake Placid Camp and Conference from the town. The SRF agreement contains principal forgiveness of $2,154,882. 1 year after completion of construction, the timely proper initial payment by the town and the other conditions of forgiveness, the town will owe the difference, which we pay back, and establish the loan agreement presented by FDEP, the initial loan resulting in a reduction loan to be paid and guaranteed by the Camping Conference, the district. This is a similar business structure used to construct the town's wastewater collection line to Lake Placid Camping Conference Center. The water line extension was completed in prior agreements between the town and district. The district paid 1/2 the initial water system development charges. Approval of this agreement is required to proceed for the water line extension to wit. The loan application to the state of revolving loan drinking water facility loan application is attached. Bulk water fee agreement is a draft for later approval. The bulk water sale agreement between the town and the district is needed to fund the repayment of the SRF loan. It is also provides the additional collateral. This agreement is for adoption later in the process and is signed by the resolution just below. The resolution is a draft of the bulk water are assigned to town FDEP and SRF. The town collects the bulk sale proceeds. Town collects the bulk sale proceeds until the town defaults. Then the bulk water sale procedure, additional collateral becomes an asset for FDEP and SRF. The financial impact, this project is funded by the district and the FDEP. This line will allow the expansion of the town's water service to Campton Conference from the town. The agreement contains a pioneer agreement which also allows the district to recover some of the costs should be the new developer using resulting water line within. The district agrees to pay the town cost associated with this project as with the sewer line extension. Proposed motion that the town move that the town Lake Placid Town Council authorized the mayor to execute and deliver the FDEP state revolving loan program for the drinking water facility loan application pertaining to the Lake Placid Camping Conference Center. Authorized the mayor to make the reasonable revisions, corrections, and completions to said application. Let's see, the bulk water service agreement. The agreement is between the town and the district for repayment of the SRF loan. The resolution the proceeds of the bulk water agreement and its additional collateral are assigned to the town and to DEP SRF. The town collects the bulk sale proceeds unless the town defaults. Then the bulk sale proceeds. Additional collateral becomes asset DEP. The financial impact on this, the project is funded by the district and FDEP. This new line will allow the expansion of the town water service to the Lake Placid Camping Conference Center. This agreement contains a pioneering agreement which allows the district to recover some of the cost. It should be a new developer resulting on this water line. So we're asking the council to consider approval and recommendation of town council to submit the FDEP state revolving fund loan application for Camping Conference Center water line extension. This action is to ensure the town meets the December 11th application deadline and complies with previous approved agreements obligations. Please note the bulk water agreement, which remains unexecuted and under review by legal counsel, has not been received or reviewed by town staff. This document should have been included as a part of the approval package and application. The absence of this agreement continues to delay town ability to complete a full review approval process, requiring additional staff time and resources. A fully executed bulk water agreement must be accompanied in this package for full approval. This ensures the town's interest and protections are clearly established and agree upon all parties prior to accepting FDEP SRF loan on behalf of Camping Conference for the water line extension in connection to the town system. The town currently has an existing contract and has received one half of the water system development charge, with the remaining portions due at a later stage. If the SRF loan approved by the state, the town will retain the option to accept or decline loan execution should the bulk water agreement not be finalized and submitted in approval by town beforehand. Our recommended motion, I move to approve submitting the FDEP SRF loan for Camping Conference Center water line extension to meet the state deadline, with the conditions that that final approval depends on receiving and reviewing full executed bulk water agreement. The town reserves the right to decline the loan if the agreement is not completed prior to acceptance.
I'll make a motion, we accept the recommended motion as read.
I'll second it. You got your motion in second. You're looking at us like.
I did, I got 3 seconds.
3 seconds, I love that.
Colleen,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure at first.
And I just have a couple simple questions.
Oh, one more thing, Lou Preka has approved this too, so,
Okay.
to bring it to council.
The Utilities Commission approved it.
Yes.
Just, so, at the end, when this is all done and repaid, are there any costs to the town? Because this is where, okay, we're going to get the loan on behalf of a third party. We're going to have a separate agreement with them to pay us back the loan. And then there's a forgiveness after 1 year for the loan that they're going to benefit from. And so at the end of the day, are there any costs? And then what are the risks to us as a municipality on this arrangement?
In theory, no, but that's why we got to get the bulk water agreement executed. So it shouldn't cost the town anything. They're supposed to manage it and everything else, so.
Okay, and then I can see December 11th, right? So we've got a date that's coming at us quite fast to do this.
Right, so in good faith, that's why we're moving it forward.
What's the holdup of the document that's missing? And then is that where we need to
So
have another
it's-
meeting to approve that? Will that be next week that we'll have it to be able to approve? I'm
that's a Bert
concerned about
question.
this December 11th date.
Yeah,
Oh, that's to our retiring attorney?
yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, your question is, what about when do we approve?
What's the holdup of why we didn't have this document today? Is there? The bulk water. The one that says this document should have included as part of the approval package.
We're submitting, the bulk water agreement has been under consideration and discussion for about a year. We had a meeting this past week where Camp and Conference Center basically agreed to pay us a whole bunch of money to close out the other. They've already paid $250,000, some more is coming.
For the wastewater?
For the wastewater,
Okay.
yes, which is the reason I think we can all confidently say that this has been a good deal. Has there been stress? Yes. The consultant was basically dead for 6 months. Actually, I thought he had passed, and that put pressure on staff. But at the end of the day, we got paid all of our, or getting paid all of our expenses. This is one of the best deals you can get, because not only is it grant funded, the applicant, the district, pays all the cost overruns. You got 3 lift stations out of this at their expense, not ours. To the point of the water and the bulk sale, we've been going back and forth on collateral because they want to give us a church in Sebring, which is right at the principal total. They've come up with another $250,000 cash deposit on top of that, plus the amount that we're getting paid in cash for the other. I feel comfortable saying that's a good deal for us. The consultant confirmed this past week, DEP does not have to have the final documents when we submit the application. They're good with us getting those in within a reasonable time thereafter. So the December 11th date is for the application. A lot of other documents will follow, and DEP has approved that concept.
What do you think the timing of getting the bulk agreement agreed to? And
A year ago, I would have said February 25, so I'm somewhat reluctant to give you a projection, but you may rest assured this project doesn't go forward without that.
Mm-hmm.
That's like our note and mortgage of how we protect the town's obligation to repay.
Okay, so this is right now just a loan application.
This is a loan application, period. We'll get to the note and mortgage and the payback at a later date.
Okay, no, I agree. It's an interesting, design, right, of how to serve all parties. them to get their water and us, to get them hooked up on the water. And again, as long as there's no cost, I just want to go into something knowing what are the costs and the risks that the town at any point could incur.
I'm reluctant to give absolutes, any attorney is, but the plan is zero cost to the town. Doesn't get much better than that.
It's a big number.
You have a motion?
We have a motion and a second. All right. Any other discussion from the podium? Take it to the audience. Okay. Bring it back. Poll the council.
Councilmember Worley?
Yes.
Councilmember Charles?
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes?
Yes.
Councilmember Eberhardt?
Yes.
All right. G, request permission of removal of assets for trade-in for purchase of utility vehicles.
Yes, I was requested for funds for a new vehicle last year, then I was directed to see if I could find 2 used vehicles for $35,000. I did find these 2 vehicles, but based on 2 trade-in of 2 older vehicles that we're replacing, I'm asking for permission to have finance sign off the titles and we could turn them back in. So it's for like $5,000, $2,500 apiece.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of the vehicles listed in the advertised packet. The VIN numbers appear there.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Got a
Is that
motion and a
good?
second. Any discussion?
Just quick, is this a budget amendment also, or is this?
No.
This is a reduction of your,
This is, I
savings.
had the money for 1 brand-new vehicle. I was directed to see if I could find 2 used vehicles instead of the 1 vehicle. So
Good.
we're replacing 2 vehicles with 2 other vehicles. new
okay,
vehicles.
thank you.
All right, we'll take it to the audience. All right, seeing none, poll the council.
Councilmember Worley?
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes?
Yes.
Councilmember Charles?
Yes.
Councilmember Eberhardt?
Yes.
Thank you, Bert.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Bert. Bert's.
All right, anything from the other department heads? Okay, I'll bring it to our town administrator.
Thank you. I just had a couple of things I wanted to touch base on. We are working with the Small Business Development Council in conjunction with Central Florida Regional Planning on being able to develop a strategic plan. So look at dates because we are tentatively looking between January and February to be able to do that at the same time. They have worked in conjunction in other municipalities where they have come in and worked alongside to help develop the strategic plan with CFRPC. They are also exploring opportunities for shared office space because they said they have been trying to get into the town of Lake Placid to work with our businesses. They said that they support the local businesses by offering no-cost consulting, market research, training, and planning support. So that will be a nice addition for our businesses. We also have I don't know for anyone who's been around for a long time, but Ken Small, in my report it says Ron Small. That is not accurate. It is a typo. I want to give him a new name. But it's Ken Small. That is who Councilwoman, I keep wanting to just say Nell, but I cannot do that. Councilwoman Hayes, and then also Councilwoman Worley. When we were at Florida League of Cities, he was there. We spoke with him. He previously worked with Miss Arlene Tuck and also helped with Rachel in getting the communication tax for the town of Lake Placid. He will be coming in January to do an evaluation of all of the staff departments. He will look at our financials, he will look at where we have issues, and he will help provide suggestions. He is a previous administrator. He also has extensive background in government, and he is on still with Florida League of Cities as a consultant. In conjunction with that, we have also partnered with other municipalities who are assisting in areas where if they see that there are bottlenecks in municipalities or if they have similar situations as in our utilities and also with our sanitation where we are in the negative, that they come alongside of us and they will give a fresh eye with experience and expertise in the government sector so that they know exactly what we're talking about, and we don't have to have all of the explaining of the way that it works. They just already know. So that will be very helpful for us.
And who pays for him?
It's free through Florida League of Cities.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Beat the price.
Right, there you go.
Free is always good.
Thank you.
And then I want to say thank you to Mr. Harris. He was able to get us a gift certificate for Fish Slapped, and I'm very excited because they are coming to see me on Wednesday to help with our Facebook. So they have a whole marketing plan. It's called the Real Deal Creator Kit. So they will be coming here to help us work on that. So I just wanted to give some updates. And then a few dates. We are members with the Ridge League of Cities. I don't know if you've seen, but we have December 11th. They have their Christmas party. They have asked for us to attend that. The Christmas dinner actually is what it's called, because remember, this is the first time Lake Placid will be at the table. So they wanted to know if we were coming or not. So just a few dates. Thank you.
Just on, is it Ken Small or Ron Small? Now you got me confused. Mr. Small.
Hang on. It's Ken. I want to keep calling him Ron, but it's Ken Small.
So on Mr. Small, that way I'll remember it. I appreciate that because, I mean, that's my background too, right, is efficiencies and even looking at, you know, some of the costs. I guess I'd like to participate with him. You know, I had mentioned that, you know, I'm willing to, as a volunteer, right, consultant, you know, help in any way I can. And if we've got somebody now from Florida League of Cities coming, I'd like to participate with him. Does anybody see any issues with that?
There's sunshine issues with that?
No, because it would just be with him.
I think as long as it's one-on-one, it'll be fine.
Yeah,
And
I wouldn't
he's,
do it with other council member.
But are you going to be interacting with the staff with him?
Yeah, but that's a sunshine law violation.
No, but, okay. I don't know, maybe I'd want to be involved in that too, I don't know.
But then that becomes a sunshine law violation,
maybe we
where
have-
it's like
Maybe we
two
don't wanna
people
do
of the
that.
same field and background can add a lot.
I got one for you.
Yeah.
He's willing to work with all of you. He will set aside time. He's willing to work with all of you. We just have to
But I
set it
think
up.
she's saying that she's going to go with him as he go around to each of the staff levels and everything.
Mhm,
And that-
yeah.
I'm not comfortable with that,
Because,
no. Because I don't think that that's the role of a council person. I mean, it's great that you have that area of expertise and everything like that, but I think we need his outside opinion alone. And then you could sit with him later like all the rest of us. Just my opinion. Just saying.
When we previously worked with Florida League of Cities,
right.
they only asked a lot of information. He gathered the information and he kind of gave a lot of suggestion as far as improvements or what we can do that other agency did that worked very well. So it's going to be pretty much like we giving him information at first. So it won't really be any involvement needed because we're going to be working, giving him the information, and then he's going to come back and he's going to get with each one of you.
But you sent us a manual of how to dose yourself. Isn't that what he's doing also? I mean, it's part of the communication was how to dose yourself.
No, that's the guide that was provided by Florida League of Cities, that if we want to doge ourselves, that's what we would use. So he's just looking at some of those items. So contracts would be one of those items that were on there, but that's something that we're already looking at. And just with a corrective action for that so that everybody's aware, one of the tools that we're looking at, I'm sorry, I feel like I have to do this, is DocuSign, so that we're able to have a DocuSign all the way through to better be able to have control over our contracts. So just some of those things.
Okay.
All right, we'll take it to, any last comments?
Last comments again, happy Veterans Day tomorrow, and enjoy the holiday for all of our staff. And then the one thing I wanted to add is the Historical Society is also having an 8 to 10 event with coffee and donuts, and they've got, it's a tribute to the veterans, but they've got, different historical things set up for that. So that's another activity in the town that we forgot to mention earlier.
Nell?
I too want to make credit to all of our veterans, and I will be attending at Balmoral at 11 o'clock tomorrow. Our Rotary Club is providing pizzas for the veterans at Balmoral, so I will be attending that.
Okay. Debra?
Well, I don't know what I'm going to do because Bert's always been here when I've been on the council, so it's going to be like training wheels or something. I'm not sure. Hope I don't tip over. Also, love our veterans for their service and everything they've done. I hope you all enjoy your day off and think about all them. My grandmother lost a son in World War II. He was only 24. He's buried out in Oak Cemetery with my grandmother. So our family is very appreciative of what everybody does. I also had really good news, and the Tourist Development Council voted, and Eric was there, our tax collector, and starting in January 1st, he feels like he can accomplish that date to start collecting the bed tax for Highlands County. So what happened before when he was allowed to do that is that income increased by, he does charge 3%, but the income, because it was locally collected, increased more than that. So we should get more money, and then he will be able to account for different areas where the money's coming from. We will have more detailed reports. Everybody's very, very excited about it, so I think it's a big win-win. Thank you.
And we get our money faster. Rather
Pardon?
than going through the state, we get our money faster if he does it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and the accounting will be so much better, and we can plan better. We can just, it's just a win-win. Everybody's very excited about it.
Okay.
I was out with the Amazon volunteer group. Was it 26 people from? Yeah, but it was a good crew, and they painted the buildings at Lake June Park, and they were a fun group. I think it was management, right? And they are going to be doing quarterly give back to the community, so it's good to have them there. I can't believe how much got done. And then, in case somebody missed what you said about the Facebook, there have been complaints that nobody can comment on the Facebook page, and you will be listing exactly why we can't accommodate it. Even though some towns have the staff to do it, we just can't do it. So once you get that posted, that'll help. And then there'd been a complaint about the basketball hoops by the library, and you guys are getting right on that. So I would have not known how bad they were unless somebody told me.
I think there's only, it's like we really need to work on that. I know playgrounds are, but I think there's only one hoop. It's kind of hard to have a game with one hoop at the end. Is there two on each end?
Yeah,
There's one on each end.
Okay, that was last time I was down there, wasn't so.
They're terrible.
They're terrible. Okay, thank you.
I wanted a quick comment on the Facebook site too, coming from an ex-PIO. There are two big things. The reason that we didn't allow comments on the Facebook site for the sheriff's office for quite some time was storage, number one. And number two, your site has to be 100% ADA compliant, which means that people that have a hearing loss or a sight loss, they still have to be able to communicate with your site just like you and I, with your SITE, just like you and I would. And that's a big challenge when you're building one of those sites. So, just a point.
All right.
I would like to say, I cannot believe we made it through 900 and how many pages by 9 o'clock.
All right, is there anything else to come before the council? If not, meeting adjourned.